It works. It works. Hello, everyone from Basel. I am here. I'm so excited. I wish you guys could see how much of a mess the setup is here, because let me tell you, there's wires all over the floor. I'm hotspotting off of my phone over here. There's a million things going on, but I am so delighted to finally have the opportunity to do this here in Basel with you. And we have a lot of plans this week. What you guys cannot see is that I have a second laptop in front of me here, which we will be using to watch back some of the rehearsal clips today. We're going to look at all of the first rehearsals and go through them. This will be the only stream where I'm alone. There will be, for the rest of the week, every stream, I think, except possibly one of the jury show evening streams, there will be somebody sat right here next to me. And conveniently, if there are guests, I can just do this. And it just kind of keeps going. The sofa there's loads of it. There's tons of sofa. So I could have, and now I've knocked the camera over. I could have all of you on as guests on the stream all at once. Someone asks, are we getting Parg as a guest? I will tell you, nothing confirmed yet. Nothing confirmed, but I'm trying. I would really love to have Parg on the stream or to do a pre-recorded interview, but we do have some artists confirmed already, so you'll be drip-fed that through the week. What I will say is, I'm not going to tell you which artists we're going to be speaking to ahead of time. For the pre-recorded interviews, I won't tell you until after the interview has been recorded. And for the live interviews, I'm not going to tell you until the day of the stream, until immediately before the stream. The reason for that is, the way things are at Eurovision, there's going to be artists who have to cancel, who have to move things around at the last second. And that's a totally normal part of the process. I don't want to, make people look bad because they've had to reschedule when practically everyone is having to reschedule stuff. Just quickly, before we get started, I wanted to say thank you to Channel 3468, Alejandro Ganacho, Kurai SDVX, Baby Batch, Shablalala, Kieran's here. Oh, I love Kieran. It's so good to see. I wish you were here, Kieran. You're here in my heart, if not in person. And Lilac Jess 15. Thank you all so much for your subscriptions and your support. It means the world. There's so much going on, and we have one interviewee, in fact, on this stream in approximately half an hour, but I am not going to tell you who it is ahead of time, because this one is super exciting. I'm pretty certain I will be the only person to interview this artist this week. It's not an artist from this year's Eurovision. So that is going to be really fun. I just want to talk about some of my friends who you're going to be seeing on the stream with me this week as well. James of The Model from Eurovoix is going to be here. Jay, of course, is going to be doing a couple of streams. He's going to be here on Tuesday and Wednesday. We've got GJ and Marco from Ding a Dong Head Song Festival podcast coming on. It is not Celine Dion. Most excitingly, for the jury final stream on Friday night, I will be joined virtually by video link by the one and only Macwell, and then also Sam Anna van Dijk from Eurovoix is going to be joining us too. Like I say, there are some artists involved as well. One more big piece of news I wanted to share with you, which is about the audience polls. The sort of head honcho of the audience polls, Ben from ESC Insight, is going to be joining us on the stream. I don't think today, but on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and we are going to be revealing the audience poll results on this stream in sync with other outlets across social media. So you'll be able to get that late on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday night as well. So we have lots to get through, and I think what we're going to do is we're going to spend this first half an hour looking at some of the... Oh, my live chat crashed. There we go. You're back now. The YouTube live chat crashed. It was very scary. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking a look at some rehearsal clips first. Now, of course, I can play these for you, but I can't play them with sound, so don't expect there to be sound. But we're going to go through each one. And we're just going to go in semi-final order, okay? Because there's some I'm very excited about. And there are some which I think are going to be really amazing. So we're going to start here. You may know these two fun, distinguished gentlemen. Can you please sing the sound? No, I cannot. So we're going to start with Iceland, which I can beautifully full screen here. Like I said, you guys will not be able to hear anything. We can do a bit better than 360p. There we go. So, can I just say, firstly, W's in chat, vibe gang. Secondly, I'm going to tell you guys a story. After we filmed I filmed the Minecraft video with Vibe a few weeks ago, we were sat on a voice call afterwards. We were just sat there, like, chatting about everything. And I said to them, I'm not going to tell anyone, but can you please give me some clue about your staging? Tell me something. And I think it was Matthias. He just smiled at me and he went, Minecraft. And then I saw this volcano. And I was like, this is exactly what I wanted. But I also think, I don't know about you guys, I think it's genius marketing. Because the song already is like catered towards kids and stuff, right? You know, it's a song that kids are going to like. Then they see this in the background, and especially with the, currentness of the Minecraft movie, I think it's really clever. Thank you so much for the subscriptions coming in, by the way. I see that from Tusen Hakia. Says, yippee, Minecraft staging. Exactly, I think it is genius. I'm so pleased with this. And, what I'll say is, woe betide anyone who wrote these guys off. I think they're going through at the moment. I mean, I've said this all along. And obviously, I'm feeling very personally involved in this. But yeah, no, I really hope they go through. And then I really hope we'll get them, hopefully, sat on this couch later this week. We're working something out, but as with everyone else, they're just so busy. Donda says, Minecraft is literally trending right now. It is. Although in Switzerland, I had a look at the three trends on Swiss Twitter right now were Nemo, Nazis, and anti-Semitism. So I think people are having a bit of a weird day. To be fair, I feel kind of like that close to the time as well. Someone says audio not working. I can't play the audio. If I play the audio, I'll get in trouble. But I can play the visuals for you. Very keen to hear what you all think of Iceland. If you had any other thoughts, please let me know. And we will be... The alerts are playing through your laptop speakers, but not through the actual stream audio? Really? Okay, that's odd. Well, that's hilarious. Like, on one hand, I think it's kind of, I want to fix it. On the other hand, I kind of want to keep it as it is, because I feel like that's kind of adorably rickety. Because, to be honest, it sums up, like, what the setup is like. And, I mean, I'll have to be careful with the webcam, but I can show you guys just how rickety this is and how much there is going on. If I sort of grab this, let me go back to the first scene. If I grab this for a second and sort of bring it round, you can see I've got all of this stuff going on. There's stuff everywhere. That, by the way, we're going to talk about this later. This is a goodie bag from the Swiss embassy. So... Not the Swiss, the Swedish embassy. So, this is on a pile of books. There really is all kinds of stuff going on here. And it's been quite a funny adaptation because obviously I'm used to having a really like sort of slick setup. So we do the same thing every week, right? We keep it very, on the money. And so I've really adapted myself to that. So it's kind of a new challenge for me to come and do like on the fly, basically, set something up from scratch somewhere else. But at the same time, obviously, it's really, really fun. 2. Whoever's spamming Skibbity Sigma Vibe Ohio Garg Aura, you're gonna need to stop that. Phoenix SC says, play Minecraft with me, Gabe. You're on. Absolutely. Let's do it. Wait, what do you mean you have 2.6 million subscribers? Well, that's news. Phoenix, if you want to play Minecraft with Vibe as well, we can set that up. Send me an Insta DM or something, and I'll put you in touch. That's super cool. In any case, we should definitely play Minecraft at some point. I need to get back into Minecraft. I'm due another Minecraft phase. Sorry, I'm going off topic. We're here to talk about rehearsal clips. Let's move to the next one, which is Poland. And here we are up on screen now. This is one of my favorite ones. I think the energy is right. The chaos is right. And this upper body strength is crazy. I'm actually kind of surprised that EBU allowed this, because I guess there must be some kind of safety measure in place. Now, I mean, it's up to you guys about if you think that's safe or not. But like, I find it difficult to believe that she's just hanging there. There must be some kind of hook, some kind of rigging to stop her from, like, if her grip slips, to have her, not fall. Because she's too high for her to just be hanging there. What I would say is, firstly, the very few people who were left who were saying that she had no chance of making the final, or said that she wasn't going to the final, I hope now that you are being quiet and realising she's very clearly going through. I love this. I absolutely love this. I think it's so over the top, and that's what makes it so fun. Elena Nechaeva survived this fall. Yes, although to be fair, I remember seeing that at the time and thinking that it was staged. If I have even half of her strength at 52. I mean, this is the thing. Seriously, okay, right, I'm timing out the person who keeps saying Skibbity Sigma Vibe Ohio Garg Aura. Take 10 minutes to think about your decisions. There you go. It is cheesy. Of course it's cheesy. This is Pestful, and chat says the dragon is kind of cheesy. Like, it's cheesy. This is very much, we've heard of a nothing burger. This is an everything burger. This is absolutely an everything burger over a song. But at the same time, it's so fun. It's so fun. In any case, we're going to move on to the next one. Oh, one sec, I forgot to... Let me just... Yes, there we go. Now... Slovenia. I have seen most of these clips, by the way. There's some I have not. I'm starting to wonder whether this has a chance, and I will explain this in more detail. I think this has a chance because the message is so simple and so universal. I mean, this is the thing, right? I talk about France, and if you saw my video on Friday, I talked a lot about France and about the universality of the message and how they needed to communicate that. This has a really universal message as well. It's not as strong as a song, but it also has a really universal message, and it's easier to understand. The shot of his wife appearing on stage is super clean too. I think this is... I'd probably say there's 11 or 12 songs that I would consider to be in a win with a chance of qualifying. My fear is that this goes in and our friends from Iceland get tipped. I just really hope that isn't the case. His wife appearing is really powerful, but at the same time, we've had that trick before the other way around. I mean, if we remember When We're Old by Eva... Her name was Eva. I can't remember her last name. They pulled this similar trick with the spouse reveal, and it did all right. Didn't do great. So I think there's a limit to this. It's not like everyone who's ever been affected by this issue is going to see this song, go, oh, I know how that feels, and then immediately pick up the phone and vote. It does also have a few problems. People are talking about Dons. It's not as impactful as Hollow. Edo Bellissimo, you're exactly right. This is not as good an entry as Hollow. Dons has a better voice. I think he has more stage presence. I think you guys are forgetting, in the semi-final especially with Dons last year, that was intense. Like, he was weeping at the end of that. He brought his best performance at the moment when it mattered the most. And that was when you could tell how much he cared. And I think a lot of why he went through was because that specific performance was so powerful. I don't know if this has that kind of, ability to leap in the way that Hollow did. Because you look back, Hollow qualifying makes perfect sense. I don't know why more of us didn't see it coming, to be honest. Is the upside down move means the rotation of an hourglass, says Joao. Yes, I think that's likely. Margish says, hey, what do you think of the new qualifier announcement style? We'll get to it. I promise we'll get to it. We have obviously a lot to cover today. Like I said, I'm just mega excited about the guests we're going to have on in 15 minutes. I've got like a Zoom call sat in the background here, ready to, with basically ready to go. And I cannot wait. Oh, I cannot wait. You guys are going to be totally shocked. It's going to be really fun. I'm stalling on moving on to Estonia for now. Just for a moment while I look at some of your questions. Jay is in chat. He is on his way to Basel, and he's bringing my toothbrush charger with him. It's funny because obviously I got here yesterday morning. I got into this Airbnb at I want to say 2:00 yesterday afternoon, and spent the whole day setting up, getting everything ready for today and everything. Went out to the Nordic party last night, and to a to an embassy event with the Swedish and the Finns that we'll come on to a minute. Yes, you are, Jay, by the way. Yeah. High trousers down. You've made your point. Skivity Parg, as always. I'm in so much pain, so much suffering. And I forgot my toothbrush charger. But luckily, because my girlfriend is at home and Jay is staying at my house tonight, I think, so that he can go, because I live closer to the airport than him. So if he stays at my house and then he can go to the airport tomorrow, means that my girlfriend is going to give Jay my toothbrush charger, and then I will just survive long enough. Like, the battery will last just long enough. Someone saying, Garg, are you in Switzerland or France or Germany? So originally the plan was to be in France. When I was going to be accredited, the plan was to be in France. I had my Airbnb booked and everything. But then once it became clear that I wasn't accredited, so there'd be no interview spaces, no media center access, which cut the legs off where I was planning to do a lot of the streams, and also where I was going to do all my interviews, suddenly the priority became, I need a space which is accessible to artists. Because if I want artists to come here, it can't be that far out of the way. What that meant was I had to, at very short notice, spend quite a lot of money to get a place in the centre of Basel, which you can imagine at 2 weeks' notice what that was like. And literally, it was like a split-second decision we had to make about a week and a half ago when I exhausted all possibilities. So, this is why I was saying, I've had to incur, a large amount of additional expense, was because I had to change that around. People are asking about if I'll be streaming the Turquoise Carpet event. We are going to keep an eye on it today. We'll look at some of the looks and so on. But if there's one thing I've learned about the Turquoise Carpet over the last few years, is that it's, to be honest, a little boring. Not much happens. But what we will be doing is what I would have done if I'd streamed the Met Gala, which is we will do a men in boring suit counter. We'll see how many of those that we get, because there's bound to be a few. Dunder, thank you so much for the €5. I'm also going to make you a moderator in this chat. There you go. But yeah, the most important thing was that even though we had to move around at short notice and sort something else out, we managed to work something out. You know, it forced me to get creative and build something up that is probably better than what we would have had anyway. Moving on to Estonia. A controversial one among, well, just about everyone. So, it is at the moment similar to the Eesti Laul performance at the start, but apparently I've heard the graphics are quite impressive later on. I would make you all bear in mind that we are looking at, in a lot of these cases, a lot of entries are choosing to keep things hidden. They are choosing the first 30 seconds. There's stuff we haven't seen. There's stuff we don't know about yet. So I actually think it would at this stage be premature to say, oh, it's just the Eesti Laul staging. Some things to bear in mind. And this doesn't just apply to Estonia, but it applies to a lot of different countries. Big props at Eurovision. They're extremely expensive. And the broadcasters, in most cases, do not have the capacity to buy that kind of thing. You know, unless you're like the BBC or someone who can spend hundreds of thousands of... Oh, well, I guess I'll have to start that again. Unless you're one of the rare countries that has a very big population, a very big budget, like the BBC or whoever else, you're not going to have that ability to, you know, invest in a massive prop, to have loads of pyro, everything else. It's one of the big ways in which the competition is not 100%, you know, like fair, right? And that's not necessarily something that it's difficult to fix, because obviously it's not like you could turn around to Sweden or someone and say, well, you have to do less, because that's not how it works. But I think there's definitely an interesting conversation to be had about how you make it a little fairer. Yeah, as you can see, I just had the Zoom call on for our guest in the background, and because obviously the interview isn't for another 10 minutes. I forgot that Zoom would do that. So there's that. I'm glad it didn't didn't spoil the name of the guest. Thank you so much, Ramping Guy, by the way, for the €10. Garg, we are aching for a poll. Okay, you know what? We've had a few entries so far. I think what we'll do at this stage, since we have 5 minutes or so before the guest comes on, let's do some polls. I'm going to ask the mods to sort this in Twitch chat. I'm going to do this in YouTube chat about each of the countries so far, whether you think they're going to qualify or not. So we will start with Iceland. Iceland qualifying, yes or no? That's going in YouTube chat now. And then we'll do Slovenia and Estonia as well. I think these are, and Poland, of course. I do think this is an interesting place to start, because Iceland and Slovenia really are like among those countries that I think people, the prevailing wisdom is they are going to be on the edge. Thank you so much, by the way, to Kayla for the $199. Thank you so much. We can't all have styrofoam trumpets. Remember, those were the most expensive prop of that year as well. Livka with the 2000 Huff. Devastated that I have plans and can't stay too long. But looking forward to all the streams. This will be the best Eurovision week ever. I hope so too. I really hope so too. I have to say, so far the atmosphere has been really good. I think we will talk more about the general atmosphere at the contest this year in a little bit, because it feels really different being here to how it felt being in Malmö. I'm sure a lot of you have felt that, who are either here, who have been following online already too. Right, we're going to end the poll on Iceland in a moment, and then we'll move on to Slovenia. Just checking everything is set. Yeah. Perfect. And so, ending the poll now, a lot of confidence in this highly unbiased chat. 73% of you say yes and 26% say no on YouTube, and that's 78 to 22 on Twitch. I have to say that's probably roughly how I feel at the minute. Like, it feels like they're doing everything that they should have done, right? I think the staging works. It feels like they had an audience in mind and they've played to it in a really effective way. It worked for them in the national selection. It's worked for them now too. Someone's saying, why not Poland? We'll do a poll on Poland in a minute, but 95 plus percent of you will say yes, I'm sure, because I think everyone knows Poland is qualifying. So while I'm going to keep talking about... thank you, Ronnie, for the 200 knock. I don't know what that means. But if someone could do a currency conversion for me, because I don't get all these currencies, and I just have no, I don't know. I have no idea what it means. Thank you so much, Ronnie, though. I really, really appreciate your support. Right, so Poland qualifying. 200 more knock. Thank you. Right, Poland qualifying, ? Start. I am super excited. Super excited for what is about to happen. So again, put your votes in chat now. Steve, the famous Steve from Latvia says, Latvian girls look like characters out of Lord of the Rings movie. I love the massive siren vibes they have. We're going to talk about that because that's another clip that really impressed me was the Latvians. Like I said, we got a few hours. We're going to get through everything, okay? Like, go... make dinner, do the laundry, whatever it is you're planning to do with your day, leave this on in the background. I'll be like, I'll be like an irritating cousin who hyperfixates on something and never shuts up about it, just sort of in the background somewhere. Maybe like, the mosquito that flies past your ear at night? That's basically what I'm trying to be for you guys, okay? That is my, did I write Polub? I did. Yeah. You know what I meant. Thank you, Ann Zeiger, and thank you, Harry, for those super chats as well. You know what I meant. I'm blocking out all of the haters. You can't do this to me. I've been through enough already. At the same time, I'm ending the poll. 87% say yes on YouTube, 86% on Twitch. If you are among the 13 to 14% of people who are currently saying this isn't going to qualify, I want to hear from you right now. Tell me what you think, because I didn't actually expect that many people to say no. So I am just looking out for... Poland isn't actually singing, and I'm losing my mind. No one else is noticing. I disagree, but also I think you should remember, again, it's rehearsals. People are saving their voices. People are singing more quietly. People are singing more softly. They're not going to do this. They're not going to behave in the same way, right? It doesn't make sense to. I mean, I can say without naming names, there is a lot of artists who are taking very good care of their health, of their voice, and that's because the impact of doing interview after interview, rehearsal after rehearsal, is you start to lose it. So there are artists who have cancelled interviews with me and with others to give extra time for vocal rest. Like, people are really carefully managing their health. And because of that, I think you should bear in mind that'll be reflected in rehearsals too. We're not seeing the final thing. So I'm deliberately not going to talk much about vocals today. There are some where I'm like, wow, that was particularly good. I'm going to mention it in those cases. But in the cases where it seems a bit weaker, I don't think that's a valid talking point at the moment. We're going to know better on Monday night. Someone said, you can say Tinner. No, it isn't Tinner. Abor and Tinner, I contacted basically everyone for interviews. The German delegation were basically like, sorry, we're just super busy. So without meaning to spoil anything, there's not going to be Abor and Tinner on this string this week, but we wish them well. My girlfriend is really sad about that, though. Rampin Guy, thank you for the €10, says, Iceland is a far safer qualifier than everyone thinks. I see it getting top 7 in the semi. Well, I'd be delighted. I mean, you're preaching to the choir. there. I don't know. 7th in the semi-final will be amazing. I think that'll be very tough. It's a really strong competition. Interview guest reveal time. I'm not going to tell you until they appear on stream and they're not in the waiting room on the Zoom call yet. I'm not going to tell you. So I'm gonna stall for time for a couple of minutes in the meantime. It's not Jesus Christ, I'll tell you that. Ellen says, and thank you for the $7.99 Australian. Hi from Australia. Can't wait for this week of streams, even though they go from 9 p.m. to midnight. Thanks for all the great content. And Harry with another 2 Australian says, light up the room. Thank you both. It is actually nice to be able to do some streams that aren't in the middle of the night for Australia, though, because my usual stream slot is what, 3 a.m., 4 a.m.? Like, that's a little much. I'm just going to quickly check in and see how we are doing on the guest front. Okay, I can see them. So, while we're setting up here, I'm just going to tell you guys now, I'm super excited about the guest who is about to join. I'm just waiting for them to connect now. There we go. Okay. Now, this is a momentous occasion. Truly, truly momentous occasion. And just so you go full screen, I'm just speaking to my guest quickly. Just so you go full screen, I'm going to turn off my camera so that it pops you up so everyone can see you. Right, there we go. And then if I go focus on participants, here we are. And then, right, I can turn my camera back on. There we are. So, ESC Gabe stream. I am delighted to welcome, for a world premiere, first ever interview in English, the one and only Loco Boombox. Welcome to the stream. It's so wonderful to have you here. I want to tell you, chat is losing their mind right now. They are absolutely losing their mind. They're so excited. I have been looking forward to this all week and like not telling anyone it's going to happen because I wanted it to be a surprise. Was such a difficult thing to do. Firstly, although I think
technology is like crazy, so
well, you know, it's so nice to finally be able to do this. But I think just in case there are a few confused people in chat, for those of you who aren't already familiar with you, would you like to tell us a little bit about you and about your connection to this beautiful contest?
Well, thanks so much, Gabe, for giving me the opportunity to be here. Okay, so first of all, I think like an exclusive reveal. I would like to take up my classes, so here you have.
He's real!
Glasses are a part of the makeup, dress, outfit. But behind Loco Boombox, it's Jonathan Cañada. For those who love gymnastics and all aerobics world, I'm 20 times world aerobic champion. And I think it was like great to just have this amazing moment of getting gold medals and be one of the best gymnasts in the world. But when you finish your career, you know, like there is something else behind, no? And one day, just to explain people why I'm here, I asked myself, what will make you happy? You know, because when you stop competing, it's like, okay, now what you have, it's like, okay, normal life. It's like good because you have love, you have money, you have whatever. But it's like, what makes you happy? And I think it was Chanel when I saw her like dancing and, you know, like all the audience, like, wow. I like, okay, my dream would be like singing and watching all the people singing with me at the same level. So it was like, let the adventure start. And here we are.
And so how did you come up with like the character after that? Were you like working with a producer or anything, or was it something you very much kind of sat down and, you know, like worked out for yourself?
Well, my first view was that we were celebrating 40th anniversary of aerobics. So I was born before, but like when I was young, I could see my mother doing aerobics and Jane Fonda and videos and all these things. So the main thing was like, okay, what will make me happy will be like to come back to that moment where you were using tapes and videos and all this moment of all times with the music that we loved from the 80s and the 90s. And then I would start thinking what was like the concept that I would love to wear, to express myself, to sing. So it was like kind of, okay, we don't have in Spain, not anymore, like the heat of the summer heat, like La Macarena, Acerejé. And this was like the amazing moment for summertime that we were expecting, like that heat that you could dance and sing and have party with it. So it was like, okay, something that can remind me that moment. This is like the main thing.
Oh, wow.
And this was my proposal, and we were like with my partner that it's like a singer, professional singer that helped me just to make sure that you could like wear it, like,
Oh,
okay,
wow.
this will be
That must
like
be, how much does that
thing.
weigh?
It's like crazy, but the main thing was like I want to do something that touch the craziness, but in a professional way. And of course, we were two people creating it, and we are like changing. It depends on the music and heat, but yeah, like these things: tape, music, neon, fluor, patterns like zero, everything. So craziness in front of everything.
And when it came to San Marino, like, I think it's interesting because Una Voce per San Marino is such like totally unique show, right? It's so unique among like Eurovision national finals and everything. I think a lot of people wonder what the experience is actually like. Because obviously you had to go to San Marino, right? But there was some problems with, it was like you couldn't use backing vocals on the track or something like that.
That's the main thing. When we planned to go to San Marino was because we present the proposal to Benidorm Fest. I think a lot of people is saying that, oh, like people that lose in Benidorm Fest, they go there, and San Marino it's like for losers. No, it's not about that. It's just that, for example, in Spain, only 16 people can go to finals or semifinals, and this year were more or less 1,000 music. I think San Marino, what is great of it is that allows everybody to go there to be visible, to show the people or the world that you exist. And this is what for me was important. I didn't want to just have the best music or be the best singer. I would just love to express what I would love to do with my music, with my outfit, with my performance. And it was like this. The main thing was that you have to do the casting at home.
Right.
So finding like the place and the connection, and well, like all technicity and like this is like pain in the ass. Like we spent like 2 days just to make sure that the music, the microphone, everything worked, and it didn't work the first time. So we have to do 2 songs. The first one was the original one, but we were like trying so hard to make the music work well that during most of the last of the first song, but at the beginning of the second song, the microphone just died. So it was like, fuck, like, oh my God, like that. So we start just screaming, thinking that, like singing louder, it will be, reaching the judges. But, like when you connect the microphones, nothing works. So imagine like 3 minutes, like dancing and, but the judges could not hear anything. So it was like, okay, we are done. So it's not going to work, like forget. But suddenly, 1 week later, we say like, well, how do we know the results or what is going on? I know that we are not going to be there, but just let us know what's happening. So suddenly they say, well, you're in, so you have to come here next week. And we're like, what? Like, what
1 week
exactly? Like,
notice.
no, no.
So they're
It
like,
was
you've got to
simpler
fly
than
to San Marino immediately and come and do this in a semi-final next week.
Yeah, the thing was like, Loco Boombox was created to have two people. The singer, me, that I can do performance with other champions, and Boombox. That was a professional singer that wanted to be like a main character like this. The thing is that she could not arrange it for like in 1 week. So it was like, well, I'm sorry, I cannot be with you there. So it's like, there's no way it could happen. It's like, and me, it's kind of Toro. I say like, well, we prepare everything. I'm going. They say like, but you cannot do all the song because we were like singing two people in the song. So the main thing was like, okay, I will dance all the song and I will sing all the song on my own. So we took the car. We like spent like 1.5 days to reach there. And when we reached there, I had to do everything and sing everything together. So it was like a big shit, a big mess, but it was worth it.
No, I mean, it struck me because it has to be one of the most exhausting and also one of the most technically difficult performances because there's a lot of moves that I think most people just wouldn't have the ability to do because they require it requires extensive, aerobics training.
The thing is that when you prepare like this type of performance, for me was like, okay, I'm not a good singer. Even I spent like 8-9 years like in music school and like this, I stopped to do aerobics. So the thing was like, okay, now I know how to do aerobics. I know how to do one arm, one leg push up. I know how to do crazy things, but now I need to know how to do it singing. So imagine you're doing a CrossFit class that you are dying, everybody's like, like dying. Imagine that you die and you have to do and singing, no? So it was like, so Megara, we met there and they were like, you cannot say anything about this guy because he was doing one arm, one leg push-up. I cannot do it in even like push-ups, regular push-ups, like things. So you cannot say anything. And this was like, I think like the goal to show the people that it will be hard. I won't be like the best singer, but I can do this, doing that. Let's give a try to people that say, oh no, yeah, you don't sing well, or you don't do this, or you like haters that we have a lot. Okay, just try to do it. So when you say this to people, it was like, okay, forget it. Like, bravo. Like, okay, cool. Like crazy.
I mean, and it really worked out. And then sort of speeding forward a bit, I remember when I first saw it, I think a month, about sort of the same month or the next month afterwards, because I was making a video about the show. And it was just like, I don't know, there was something about the energy of it. It was just so fun. Like, I remember I watched it the first time and like, firstly, I thought it was really catchy, but secondly, I couldn't stop laughing. I was enjoying because I just enjoyed it so much. And I remember looking back at the tweets and seeing all of the, like, everyone watching at the time being like, how did Loco Boombox not go to the final? And I have this sort of image in my mind of if that song was at Eurovision and you'd have like yourself and your professional singer and then like, I don't know, so maybe some other like aerobics pros on stage with you, like doing some sort of big synchronized routine or something. Did you ever think about, well, if I was at Eurovision on that stage, what would I have done with this song?
The thing is like, I explained like many times, you know what happened when I reached there? Everything, I'm really positive. So it's like, okay, like going to a casting without your partner, knowing that you have to sing the whole song when you are not able to sing the whole song alone. So it's like, okay, I was like so positive. I want to do it. I want to do it. But I reached there, then suddenly it's completely different as a performance in aerobics or gymnastics like this. Like you have judges there, nothing moves, you have the space. So they say like you have a stage of 5 meters by 10. When we reached there, it was like 2x5. So it was like, where do I have to dance? So imagine we were planning to bring some dancers. We didn't. So thanks to it, because I had to I had to change everything, because there was like the live speaker, like the drums and everything. So you have to control everything. Then you have 3 cameras like moving, and then one was moving around. So suddenly, like, I had the spot of light there. So I have to take all the rainstorms from the glasses, because I could not see anything. So everything was a mess. So suddenly, like, it was like, okay, just do it. And we finish it. And I say to my partner, well, it was a big mess, because I never thought that this would happen like that, because it was completely different. What is going on? I think, as happened with Chanel, she was a dancer. She had the like the way of working like a gymnast. So, like, if you have to do this, it's like, I cannot do it right now, but I will do it. So it's like, and if you don't do it, like, you have other versions, or you have other options that you will ensure that it will happen. No, so I'm really strict with that. And my plan is always like that. This is what my partner is saying. No, you don't have to think like that. I'm not thinking about having a commercial music that you can sing like everybody else. I want to do my music with the performance, knowing that we will be 5 world champions on the stage. We will have Loco Boombox, and he was like, like, I have always my vision of that. It never happened, because you don't have the option. But it's like, okay, anyway, like, always like the song, it will be like thinking what is going to be at Eurovision, that this will be like that. You will have 2 boys, you will have 2 girls, or you will have a mix, or always thinking that the performance, the whole package will be the most important thing. Not only about the music, it's not about the rhythm. It's like, okay, what is next?
Well, I do hope there will be another chance. At the very least, I hope there's going to be another entry. Like, are you thinking about this? Are you thinking, well, maybe should I try again next year? Because I know it didn't quite work out this time, but maybe next time. What's going on at the moment? What's next?
Well, when the first thing is, when we finished San Marino 2 years ago, it was like, I was in shock. It was like, I did like a big mess. For me, it was like, that's the worst thing I ever did, like, out of sports. So, like, it's not going to happen again. So suddenly, like, everybody was coming after the performance, like, oh, like, legend, amazing. And I was like, what the heck, like this is like terrible, no, it was not. Oh, no, you have to be in finals. You are amazing. We never saw that. We're like, okay. And everybody was coming to me, like, saying, like, this was amazing. Like, for me, it was like the worst thing ever after competition, like, I did. It was like, oh my God, like, I will be like, like, close at my home, like, without moving for a whole year. So I say, like, not coming to San Marino again. So it's not going to happen. So, but after all, it was like, okay, I could see, like, people was like, oh, that was amazing. I could, like, reaching the moment that people loved, like, this concept for Eurovision. Others like, no, this is about laughing. It's like a joke entry. But it was like, well, that's the thing. It's just, I want to be happy, and I want to make the people be happy and sing with me. So that's the main thing. It's not like I want to be like, like the best singer in the world. So last year, I did a music that for me was like a really good one. It was like an anthem, like a really superhero anthem. I didn't post it. I didn't put it on social network, because I think that we can do something better with this song. And it was about, like, what happened when I decided to do aerobics in a world that it's not like today, that a boy doing aerobics, it was like, no way, like, you cannot do that. Like, you could not say to people that you were gay. You could not say that you wanted to do aerobics. And when I could show the people that I was good at this, and everybody was like, oh my God, like, you are amazing. It was like, okay, then step by step, I could, like, work on it. But same. You are at the school, you are the girl, you are like gay, everything that could happen, it happened. But at the end, it was like amazing. I just stepped forward, and this is what the song was about. The concept was that Jonathan from the future come to the past and try to fix what happened that time. And I think it was amazing. The performance on the casting online we did this year for San Marino, and the strangest thing was that the casting was perfect. Perfect. It was the first one. We did really good. Like the choreography was 100 times harder and much better, but I could breathe and sing. And then there was no feedback, there was no answer, and they say no. I was like shocked because it was like the first time was terrible, and like thinking that I can do things better, and I'm so strict with that. This was better. So they say like no, and suddenly my partner said, you know what? If they say no with this, knowing that you did something different and it worked, this is because. And I wanted to be like positive and thinking that always there will be a reason. But my partner said, if they say something like this, is because they know who is going to Eurovision this year. I was like, no, no way. Like, like they have to open the doors to everybody like this. Suddenly when I saw the casting, I was like, okay, that's fine. Better not to go there because it was like a trauma. So this year was like, okay, this is the moment that maybe because several things in my life, it's better to stop right now and to move forward for next season. And we're planning next season. So I'm happy because it allowed me to stop, think, and okay, what we have to think if we want to be there. So thinking in a more commercial song, but always with the spirit of 80s, 90s techno aerobics. So yeah, having fun. Being
Yeah,
crazy.
I think, I mean, it's interesting what you were saying about, some people saying, oh, it's joke entry or laughing or whatever. But I think also, like, there's with this, like, I found when you're watching something, you're like, oh, this is funny. It's like there's a big difference from laughing at something to laughing with someone, right? And I felt like what I loved is that I was like, yeah, it's silly, it's fun, but I feel like it's sort of taken me with it. So I'm laughing with this. You know what I mean? Where it's like, I get to the end, I'm like, that was so silly and fun. And like, that's such a special thing. I think that's why it connected with people, is because it was so like, it was unfiltered, like, kind of all out, like 1,000%. And
I think
just,
like,
that's just a really special thing.
like now that we are calling it, well, they are calling it joke entries. I think like these entries always existed. Like ABBA was like that. Like now you think, oh no, ABBA was amazing like this. Well, like but with different outfits, like colors and Rasputin, and there are such a lot of songs that it's not about laughing. For me, it's like you play it and it brings me back like the happiness and the joy of singing, jumping, maybe with a glass of wine. And, like this is the way for me, like the songs must be created for me, for like with Loco Boombox, because I want the people have fun. I know that now people is going to Eurovision and they want to look for the best singer and the best staging and like this. But suddenly, for me, for example, last day I just write a comment of Albania because I understand that there are a lot of tastes. Like we said in Spanish, para gusto las flores y para flores los colores. Now everybody can have their own taste, but these are songs that doesn't give me anything. It's not saying that it's bad. It's not saying that it's the worst song. No, but it's like when I saw this song, I cannot even finish it because it doesn't give me any joy vibes, So, but because I'm like that, I prefer to play a music on the morning that allows me just to, okay, let's go. This is my life and we have to work for it. And people doesn't understand. I receive such a lot of like hate comments you know, like, well, you are Spanish, normal that you are like this, or oh, you know, like you don't have any taste, or like, hey, I'm sorry, you know, like my life is not yours. I have to tell you this like an extra. I'm narcoleptic, so I have to be awake during the whole day. I have to take like Red Bull Monster commercial time. Six pills, like more or less, they are like amphetamines. That for you, for example, you will be awake for 1.5 days or 2 days with one pill. I have to take like 5, 6 per day. This is killing me. You know, like my this like a sleepy illness. It's like really bad. And
It's narcolepsy, right?
imagine, yeah. So with cataplexy, with a lot of life problems, you wake up in the morning, and I'm sorry, I cannot listen this type of songs because even, you know, like when you are in a place that they play a song like this, I'm dying, you know, I'm sleeping. So I think we need, for me, I need this music that, okay, oh, okay, here we go. For example, like this year, Spain, Malta, Finland, Sweden, it makes me be alive. You know, people won't understand that, and they say, "Ah, but you love joke entries like this." No, because there are joke entries that doesn't give me the vibes to be awake and to have fun and to enjoy. And it's not about like, you know, going crazy and spend 2 days in a discotheque. No, for me it's like to be awake. You know, like for me, spending like, you know, one day awake, it's fine, because if I don't take the pills, I can spend like 2 days sleeping. So having this type of music makes me feel alive, you know, and people sometimes don't understand that, and it's like, okay, easy way to, you know, like hate people like this, but you don't understand them, or you don't know their lives. So I think like always will exist, and I think that for me we need more of that, but it's just me. So
Sure. Well, one thing I just want to say to wrap things up, I think I want to say on behalf of, and I know everyone in chat is going to agree with me on this, I just wanted to say thank you for all of the joy, all of the energy. It makes me really happy, the way that, like, you know, you've sort of, the way that this has kind of been such a positive thing, the fact that we got to do that big campaign, so your song finished really high on the national finals leaderboard, all of this stuff, like, it's been such a happy experience, and I really, really hope that we're gonna see you again next year. So thank you for all of the joy and all of the happiness. It means the world to all of us.
no, and thanks to you all, because if it, when I receive all these comments from you, and you know, like the rankings and you know, the positive things that I received, it was like, okay, it's worthy, you know, like it's worthy. Even like you spend like a really bad time in your life, and you know, like it's so hard. I say to people like, well, you need first to create a song, to do the music, to do the lyrics, to get into stage, to sing it, to perform it, and like this, and then you are allowed to talk about, you know, like hate and everything like that. But receiving all the positive comments, and you know, like, oh, you have to keep on moving like this, makes me that I want to wake up in the morning and say, okay, let's go for it, you know, like, and this is something that you don't do it with pills, and you don't do it with energetic dreams. So this is something that comes from you, and I'm so grateful, because nowadays I think it's so difficult to receive this, and there is no words. So thank you so much
Thank you
for
so much.
being there.
Well, thank you for joining us. This has been this has been like one of the I've been so excited to do this all week, so it's been such an honor, and hopefully we will be hearing more from Loco Boombox very soon.
Hope so. Like lucky Chinese from the 80s. So hope so that one day we will be like on TV, like trying to do our best and to have fun with you all.
For sure. Fingers crossed. All right. Take care, and we will see you soon.
Thank you. Have fun. Enjoy life.
Thank you so much. Well, that was like meeting. That was my equivalent of meeting the Beatles. That was the most wonderful half an hour. It just, I find this is the thing I love about Eurovision is you get these, really, sort of, Eurovision connects you in such unexpected ways to such unexpected people. And it's just the most wonderful, thing. It's like I said, like I really enjoyed the fact that I could just spring that on all of you and be like, surprise, by the way, it's Loco Boombox. We are going to, by the way, keep an eye on the Turquoise carpet, which has now started. It is, like I say, it's, to be honest, I usually find the Turquoise carpet a bit boring, which is why we're sort of doing like the alternative stream here, talking about other stuff. Although with that in mind, I also understand a lot of people are going to be over there and watching. People saying the Turquoise carpet is actually insane. Let's see what's going on. Is there booing? That's not ideal if so. I can see lots of spam in chat. There's a dude speaking. Oh, it's the City of Basel guy. For context, this is what I'm seeing right now. Obviously, I can't show their stream on my stream. The Turquoise carpet crowd sounds more like a protest to me. And so many flags you can't see from the wide shot. People are chanting shame on you. 1 second, let's have a look. I'm gonna listen in for a minute. Right, let me just... It's not... I'm not getting any sound at all, actually. Don't know if I've just broken this or what's going on, but... Yeah, I have no sound, so I guess I've been spared. Booing chance of... Okay, right, that makes sense. Oh, yeah, you can see it in the background, actually. You can see the flag. I mean, it's tough, right? And this is, a good chance to talk about the atmosphere here this year compared to last year, which is definitely different. I think the issue has not gone away. People are still very much, feel every bit as strongly about this as they did last year. At the same time, I'd say the atmosphere here in Basel is a lot less fraught than it was in Malmö. And I mean, that comes, I think, primarily from a place of the fact that we've had a lot more time, in the intervening 12 months. And we are more, I think, it's just as what's happening is just as awful as it was 12 months ago, but it's like, it was so fresh. I mean, think about what this was like in the first few months after October 2023. In those first few months, it was such a, because the thing that partly made it so difficult was the amount of emotion and sort of anguish that was bound up in it, right? Now, obviously, a lot of that stuff is still there, but there is a different, and I think it's universally true. There's a different attitude among artists, organizers, fan media, both pro and anti Israel activists, and so on. And it's things like the security presence and stuff in the city is a little more low key. Things just generally seem calmer. The other thing is we've now had a week of being in the delegation bubble, right? And as Nurbas in chat says, this is what I was about to bring up, you have a much less fraught environment backstage. And it's interesting because different delegations are responding to this in different ways. On one hand, I think there's some people who are like, because if you think about it, if you've been a head of delegation or a head of press, whatever, for 10, 12, 14, however many years, be like, well, things have always operated like this and now they change. On the flip side, I think the proof is kind of in the pudding here that it's very clearly better backstage this year in terms of the environment than it was last year. For example, this time last year, we were spending a lot of time talking about the Israeli delegation's behavior and everything. There's been nothing this year at all, which suggests that, it suggests a few things. It suggests that, we have an effective set of, code of expectation of how to believe, how to behave and so on. It also, I think, indicates that a message has been received there. I think it's very clear from how much more low-key they're being, that, it's quite that there's clearly been a conversation there. Now, meanwhile, look who it is. He's here. We cannot escape him. We cannot escape him. But yeah, no, which a bit of a weird aside that was, but yeah, the main thing is that my position is the same. I am still, referring people back to what I've talked about with Israel before. Music is not apolitical. Eurovision is not apolitical. So I'm going to keep saying that. He is a monstrosity, isn't he? I have to say. I mean, there are some pretty ugly mascots in the world. With no offense, or perhaps actually a lot of offense to Lumo. I think Lumo might be one of the ugliest mascots and most terrifying mascots I have ever seen. It's just horrifying. But what I wanted to but while we're on the subject of mascots, there's something that I did want to highlight, and also just wanted to point out that the stream broke when Lumo appeared. There is an account on Twitter, and it's called Mascot Minute Silence. And I want to tell you that this is the greatest Twitter account of any account. It is mascots observing minute silences at football games. And this shit cracks me up so much. I love it. And I love how also it's always just some obscure football teams in the middle of nowhere in Newfoundland and Labrador or whatever who have the oddest mascots. Look how sad this guy is. He's got a little hat and he's looking down at the ground. I don't understand why. If you're having a minute's silence, you would, do the minute silence. Thank you very much for, I hear Loco Boombox. Thank you, Siamon CZ, saying, having my final exams during Eurovision is so weird, but I can still support the best content creator. Your videos are a real relief while studying. And one last thing, vote number 13 in semi-final 2. Thank you so much. I appreciate that a lot. I really, really appreciate your support. But yeah, imagine, it's all very serious. All very serious. Look, oh yes, we're all, we're remembering something very sad has happened, and then you just got on the end. I don't know. I just think maybe they should just take the mascots off the pitch at that time. Anyway, they're still going on with this. That's Gojo. Like I said, we can't dedicate a lot of time to showing this on stream because we can't show someone else's stream on stream. But we'll keep an eye on it. If anyone has a particularly good costume, we will tell you. That said, man wearing suit counter, add 1. Gojo is just wearing a suit. We are going to continue what we were up to before, which was looking at the first semi-final. So I'm going to go back to that now. There will be polls, I promise. And we will be continuing by running order. With, I believe next was Ukraine. And I'm about to be a bird of prey defender again. So, this is where we're at. We will proceed. Remember, no sound. I can't play sound. I can show the clip. I can't play sound. Now, can you all tell me why you all hate this so much? Why is everyone hating on this? Because I love it. And I think it's really cool. And I think it speaks to the band's inspirations and influences in a way that people should appreciate more. Think about the kinds of things that they are that they are channeling here. You know, it's this kind of 80s, 90s kind of vibe. You know, I talk about prog a lot. The rumours that they mistreated their creative team, as far as I know, there's no truth in that at all. There's no truth in that rumour. Trevina, thank you for the membership, by the way. I think it looks great. I think it's a really interesting vibe. And I find it sad that, in general, it feels like this season, people have not really gotten it. But like, these costumes are so interesting, and it's totally visually distinct from everyone else. Like, we're seeing this year a lot of black, a lot of white, a lot of red. So it's really nice to see this kind of, you know, technicolor. Obviously, lead singer wearing red, but all this color around him, all this kind of brightness. I think it actually really, visually, is extremely distinct. Anthology makes an interesting point, which is that people don't like how unmasculine Zifferblatt are. I think there is something to this. I think people expect a certain thing from a rock band, and they're just, you know, having fun. Jack asks, where are you viewing rehearsals? I'm going to be here, but we're going to have several people feeding back. We've got people in the room on the night. We've got people in the press centre. We're going to have loads of information coming through here. So this will be the first place to see everything. So that's something to be excited about. People would collapse at glam rock, indeed. It is just, I think it's special. It's fun. I love it. And I'm not going to back away from that. And we're not running a poll because Ukraine are definitely qualifying. Next up, another one where there's been some stinky takes recently. Now, I'm going to explain how you've all been committing the cardinal sin about this song and about this performance during rehearsals. But first, we're going to watch back the clip. I mean, it's just the same as Melody Festival. Like, there's nothing new here. I don't think we were expecting anything new here. It's still great. It's still really great. I didn't talk about Finland yet, Krista, don't worry. Obviously, it's more effective with 7 people than 6, but I still think it's just fine. People are talking about the vocals. People seem upset about the vocals on this. And it's like, what do you expect them to do? What exactly do you expect them to do? Just calm down. They're going to win the whole contest. That is how it is. If you actually want to see what a bad staging looks like, and I say this with the utmost respect to a delegation that is usually superb, unfortunately, I think these guys have dropped the ball a little bit. I want to hear your opinions, because I know that, like I said in my previous video where I went through all the songs, it's not my favorite. It's maybe not the one that I am really engaged with, but it kind of feels like it's been phoned in a little bit. Like, there's just not that much going on here. And the way in which Portugal has managed to elevate songs in the last few years, I just wish they could have done the same here. Viber on the carpet, you say. So they are. Oh, and they have some commentators as well. I can't see who they are. Do we count this? I think we can count this as not a suit. It's not men in suits. It's sparkly, so I will allow it. I will allow it. But yeah, I mean, if there are some Des Staccato lovers in chat, obviously I want to hear you. We are going to do a poll on this, because this one I think is a little more controversial. I personally think it's out. But I will poll you all and we'll see how you feel, because you guys just love pressing buttons so much. There we go. So you can vote now. It's available on Twitch and YouTube chat. John says, hey, what have I missed? Loco Boombox would be the best way to answer that question. You missed Loco Boombox. He joined us before for half an hour. We had a really great conversation about, well, everything that he, you know, has been working on, all the different things he's done, and that's obviously such an immense privilege. And it was really funny, I have to say, seeing the way you all lost it, the way chat went into meltdown when I brought him out. I told you it was going to be a good guest. I did tell you it was going to be a good guest. Now, I have accidentally closed the tab, so I'm going to get it up again. There we go. It looks pretty clear on Portugal at the moment. I'm going to end the poll. I'm sorry, I guess there's not a mod in Twitch chat right now. So, Dunda, if you open up Twitch chat, I'll make you a mod there as well. Please save me, Dunda. Dunda, save me. We're going to keep going to another one that I feel like we knew a lot about before, which was Norway. And I need to make Dunda a mod here. How do I do that? Just someone tell me the command. In the meantime, let's play Norway. So another one I have reason to be optimistic about. I think this is really nicely done. It is better than the studio version of the song would suggest, because the studio version of the song is not massively my thing, I would say. Like, it's fine, I don't skip it, but it really comes alive with the live performance. The choreo is slick, he's slick. I think they're basically just demonstrating with this clip, hey, we're doing everything that we said we were going to do. They didn't change a lot because they didn't need to. It is worth talking about the fact, and I'm gonna find this because I'm pretty sure they took a photo. For those of you who don't know, Kyle Alessandro had a wisdom tooth taken out this week, which is an absolutely insane thing in general to have done, especially a few days before one of the biggest performances of your life. I don't know if you put it on his Instagram. Doesn't look like it. I'll find it on Twitter. Someone says, what is Tommy Cash doing now? I almost don't want to know. In any case, I'd love to hear what you guys are thinking about Norway. Again, I hope none of you think that it's not qualifying. Some of you, I think, just say, no, this isn't qualifying, to be contrarian. I say this with the utmost love, because I love you all very much. But sometimes, some of you say or do stuff where I'm like, come on. That's not going to happen. And Catharsis are on the carpet as well. Are they wearing boring suits? I hope not. I feel like they'd wear their stage outfit on the carpet, to be honest. Let's have a little look. I can't believe I just Googled Kyle Alessandro teeth. Yep, there he is. Right. Why did they bring a professional photographer literally in the room with him? This is a really nicely taken photo. They brought someone in with a proper camera to take a photo of Kyle Alessandro having his wisdom teeth out. Come on. Dear, oh dear. In any case, safely true. Well, I'm sure we all agree. There'll be a poll anyway, because you guys love pressing buttons. I will say, by the way, I'm really pleased because coming into today's stream, I'll admit I was feeling quite nervous. Just because I'm in a new place, I'm feeling unsettled because I've had to sort of redo my setup from scratch here. And I'm honestly just relieved everything works. The camera works, you guys can hear me fine. I can see that I'm not dropping any frames, the internet is fine. It's one of those things you never quite know how these things are going to come together until you actually do it live. And it's really nice to be back with you guys, and it's really nice to be on stream and doing this here. I hear that more people are on the carpet. I'm going to keep checking the ESC Discord Twitter feed, I think. So as they pop up here, I'm sure they will... Oh, no. It's him again. We'll keep an eye on it. But yeah, I'm really pleased this is working, basically. It's obviously a totally new thing as well to be doing these kinds of daily streams. And for the rest of the week, it's going to be, there's going to be guests here as well, which will make my life even easier. Now, next clip is Belgium. And I have to say, some of you dared suggest that this might not be qualifying. Oh, ye of little faith. This is amazing. Like, I think this staging concept is so cool. And Volpica, don't worry, it might be late, but we're going for longer than usual today. Anyway, probably. This is one of the most creative stagings that we've seen, I think, out of these first rehearsals. And if there was any question of this qualifying, I think that question has now been answered. I do find it funny that, by the way, 8% of you are contrarian and said that no, I wouldn't qualify. It's total nonsense. It's obviously qualifying. This is, I mean, the whole like lookalikes thing is a really clever concept. And I feel like, again, they're hiding the best of it because we're not seeing the climax of any of these songs. Everyone is holding everything back this year. You know, the amount of people who are just showing the first 30 seconds as well. Terrastar, I'm here, but on mobile. Pretty sure I can't set up polls on here. Sorry, but maybe Dunder can do it. Wait, no, because I'd have to add Dunder as a moderator, and it wasn't working on my phone when I tried to do that. Everything's good and functional here on the ESC Game live stream. In any case, I'm just going to close. I love how I just have a window here. It just says Kyle Alessandro Teeth. I'm just going to close that. At least I know he's not watching. And we will move to the next one, which was Azerbaijan. I mean, we will look at it briefly. They're not going to qualify. You guys all know my position. I think the vocal is a little... I'm going to do a poll for Belgium, by the way. I know, you know. The vocal is a little shrill, in my opinion. So all I've really learned is that, you know, while the staging is fine, I don't mind it. I think it's still not non-qualifier. Song's not strong enough. Vocal doesn't work with the song live. Belgium poll. Again, going to see how many of you are just being contrarian for the sake of being contrarian. I'm telling you, this is qualifying easily. This is Belgium I'm talking about, not Azerbaijan. Belgium is going to qualify easily. It's so clearly true. And I can't believe people are still being like, you know, oh, what if they shock NQ? There was someone who said, we'll have this conversation again on Wednesday. They're going to NQ. I'm going to remember that. So if we're ignoring the vocals for other people, why aren't we ignoring it for one with you? It's not a technical criticism. I'm not making a technical criticism of his vocals. He's a great vocalist. The criticism that I'm making is that this live vocal with this song in this context, it doesn't blend. And this is a worry I've had since that song was released. That's the problem here. It's not to do with the vocal itself. The vocal itself is going to be fine. But yeah, the Belgium will be easily through. Apparently, Miriana is serving balls. Let's have a look. A sec. Just going to go to this for a sec while I sort things out. They're in the middle of a VT. Where's the... Oh, there she is. Oh, she is serving balls. How lovely. And that's just some guilt. I enjoyed the Miriana for the 3 seconds they showed her for. Someone says, do you have online press accreditation? No, I do not. I'm not accredited. So, Belgian poll, I'm going to close now. 87% of you say yes. And to be honest, if I think it was anything different, I would be worried. Again, for the 12% of people who say no, I want to hear the minority opinion. I want to hear why you think it is that it's not happening. Because I cannot see any way in which Belgium doesn't qualify. In what world? At the moment, Crystal, yeah, you will need to be on YouTube to participate in the polls. I need to... Basically, I've realised I'm running the stream from a new laptop and I'm not signed in on Twitch on the laptop, which means I can't add moderators on Twitch. 300 votes is rather poetic, isn't it? Moving on. San Marino next. Now, I really like the song, like in the studio version. I think this has the problem we expected it to have, which is number one, it's quite dark, but number two, it's too stationary, right? This song needed a lot of movement. It's a fun song that, you want to dance to, right? And for me, this staging isn't giving, I want to dance to this. You know what I mean? I mean, this is the thing. When we learned this, we learned it with Lumix, we learned it with Grome, is that DJs and Eurovision do not mix. They do not mix. And I feel like this song now is at serious risk of non-qualifying. Other than an 8 or a 10 from the Italians, maybe a 12, I don't see where the other points are coming from. I mean, there we go. Lumix's song was written by Gabri as well. Although, to be fair, it's not Gabri Ponte's fault that Pia Maria can't sing. Like, what's the guy meant to do? But yeah, exactly what Blickbanen said. They're allowed 3 more people. They didn't get some dancers on, and that is super frustrating. But there we are. LSWare says, how does voting in the semi-finals work? I thought it was only televote. That is correct. All the participants in the semi-final. Have you ever seen Gabri Ponte and Pia Maria in the same room? You're banned. That's don't be silly, Dolphin Dane. I'm going to do a poll. Like I said, I think this one is in trouble, but I'm very keen to hear it from all of you. San Marino qualifying? Question mark. Start poll. Yeah, I just think I was originally quite optimistic for this, but now I think they're falling and Iceland are in their place. I'm so sorry, Twitch chat. I'm so sorry, guys. Like, I will fix this in time for tomorrow, so you will have plenty of poll voting to do this week. For now, if you do want to vote in the poll, just open up the YouTube chat. My apologies to you all. Next, though, we are about to talk about Albania. So that usually perks you guys up. Let's see here. I will say as well, probably in the next 10 to 15 minutes, I do need to drink some water and stuff. So I will take a 2-minute break at some point soon. And then we will continue because I would like to stay going today for quite a while. Maybe until the carpet is over. And it might be that there's a couple of people who I can get to come along once the carpet is done to come and join me here. That would be really fun. Really clear result on San Marino. I think if we'd done this poll a week and a half ago, it would have been closer. But now 80% of people say no. 19% yes in terms of qualification, which is pretty hefty. I mean, for context, that means you're as confident about this not qualifying as you are confident about Belgium and Norway qualifying. Which I'd hope would be very. What I hope we're all not worried about, in fact, I'm sure we're all not worried about, is Albania. And can we just all agree we love this? I love this. I love everything about this. I think this is wonderful. I think it's clever. I think it's graceful. I think it's a superb use of a huge space in a way that makes it feel full while also keeping props to a minimum, which means a broadcaster like the Albanians can afford it. For that reason, it is just so well done. This is the thing. You don't need a massive, massive budget in order to make Eurovision work. And this demonstrates it. I mean, how cool is this split screen? How cool is this, red and black, white and black thing they have going on? The thing I really wanted from this, back when we talked about this in January, was a sort of some way of integrating color into the performance better. That's what this does. It creates this kind of two forces where the fact that they're so different from each other makes it... sorry, brain died. The fact that they're so different from each other, like, is a plus. There was my only worry was at the start was that his stage presence, you know, in the national final was maybe not the greatest, but he has clearly learned, he has clearly developed. So I'm pretty happy, to be honest. If Albania can get an orchestra for their national final, they could host Tirana 2026. I think Albania is definitely qualifying. I don't think it's winning. But because of that, I think there's a slightly different way to do a poll here. I'm going to do a poll on sort of roughly where they're going to finish. And I'm going to ask you all to fill that in. And Albania finishing position. Here we go. And we're going to go like, there we go. Sort of increasingly wide bands, because obviously the bands will get, the differences between positions will get smaller as you go further down. Someone says, Anthology says, Gabe, can you say Albania is NQing so that you can jinx it and Albania actually shock wins instead? Albania is NQing. There we go. It's done. Make sure to vote on that poll now. It's interesting seeing your assessment of this. I think I broadly agree with chat's suggestions at the moment, but I just want to wait and see how it develops a little longer. The turquoise carpet, of course, is ongoing. We're keeping an eye on that here too. We've had Miriana Conte has been out. We've had wow, she really is serving balls. We've had Emmy, who is very sparkly. She's clearly been taking clothes from Vibe, and Mariam Shangelia has been out as well. For that, we had Clement and his wife. That's very nice. That's a man in a suit. Man in a suit. That is a man in a suit. Add one to the counter. Justina, stunning, of course, as always. If I look like that when I was... Well, maybe I won't look like that when I'm 52, but if I was a woman, I would want to look like that when I was 52. We had Lithuania just before, with some nice jackets. And again, it fits them, like a little understated. And Tommy Cash is wearing the same outfit he always wears. And it's a man in a suit. Now, Albania finishing position. You have said 51% say between 4th and 7th, and then 38% say 8 to 15. So broadly, what I'm saying, what I'm interpreting from that is you're expecting it to finish somewhere between like 6th and 10th. Which would be a very good result. At the same time, I'm harbouring just a small hope that it might pip Ronan Nishliu as Albania's best result in quite a long time. Next one, and this is another one you've all been silly about. This guy has one vocal crack, and you all turn on him. One vocal crack. Like, seriously, everyone needs to calm down and leave Claude alone. I think it was a mistake to choose this clip because it was clearly just like some breathiness, some overexcitement. I'm not worried about this yet. And again, we don't know much about the staging yet either. I'd love to see something a little more... This is a nice shot, but I want to see how they expand the stage out away from this as well. At the moment, if it was all that tight and all that closed off, I think it would be a problem, but I think they'll probably open it up too, because, I mean, he dances so much in the music video. It would make no sense for him not to dance on stage. Shabla Lala says, the Dutch drama programs have been going wild. It's insane. This is the thing. I've been seeing this now for some time that, I mean, think back to 2022 when you had Mia and Dion. And I need to get some water, so I'm just gonna turn up the gain so you guys can hear me from further away, so I can keep explaining while I'm getting water. Basically, in 2023, the Dutch tabloids all turned on Mia and Dion in a massive way, and the negative mental impact it had on them was enormous. It was absolutely enormous, and it was unfair. And there we go. That's better. Did I turn it up a little too far? I'm sorry about that. They have these really large wine glasses, by the way, at my Airbnb, so that's what I'm drinking out of. Now, much better. But the Dutch tabloids, they ripped Mia and Dion to shreds, and it had such a horrible negative impact on them that just was so uncomfortable to watch. It was so uncomfortable to watch. And as a result, but when we got to the contest, I think it made them a lot worse. It's such a shame to see, actually, I'm going, right, this is a rant now, so we're going full camera. It's just I didn't mean to deafen you all with my wine water. It is just water, by the way. It's such a shame to see the hypocrisy of the Dutch press, who spent the entirety of 2024 being so outraged on Joost Klein's behalf. Then they turned on him at the back end of 2024 and started hammering him everywhere. And then we get Claude. Initially, there's this nice response. And then the second that a tiny sliver of weakness appears, they jump on him straight away. It's just like, what's the point? Like, you got so aggrieved about how you were treated last year, and you 100% had grounds to feel aggrieved. And then there was just, I don't understand it, I don't understand it. So, I mean, they never learn, because the British press are like this as well, and they also never learn. But, again, like Terrastar says, everyone fucks up at rehearsals. That's why they exist. I'm really frustrated with the Dutch as a result, the Dutch press, because it's a great delegation that have put together a really nice package. We have 2 more packages to talk about in this semi-final. We'll talk about Theo Evans' package in a minute. First, we're going to look at Croatia. Now, real talk, Gabe, the way you drink from that wine glass while ranting makes you look like my mum complaining about her co-workers. That was what I was aiming for. I agree with what Little Miss Lily in chat just said. The staging of this is really cool. I actually really like a lot of what they're doing here. I do enjoy the sort of mild Poland energy of it with the special effects. But the song is where the problem lies. The song is definitely where the problem lies. I mean, it's just... I said this before. I said this in my video where I went through all of them. I ranked all the entries. I just don't think that this song is Marco's style, and I'm confused as to why or how he's ended up with it. You know what I mean? He's a great singer if you listen to something like Molly's on Nas, which is totally different to this. So I wonder whether we're going to see him back in future with something quite different. I think that would be nice. Because for me at the moment, the colours are nice, the staging's fun. Having it right at the front like this is good. I think this general front of stage, it creates a sort of smaller area. And if you put everything in there, then and sort of plan around that, you can really shrink it down. His voice is great on the studio version as well. Yeah, no, his voice is great on the studio version, but it's just not to his taste. It's not to his strengths, in my opinion, live. Interesting that you're saying it has we have Doomsday Blue at home vibes. I don't really see the line. I think they're approaching from very different angles, and also the sort of genesis of those songs was very different too. We're going to stay focused on the semi-finals at the moment rather than on the carpet. I know what's going on over there, but we're going to stay focused on the semi-finals. We're going to keep doing our thing here. And we're going to talk about Cyprus. And also, you guys need a poll. I'll give you a poll first, and then we'll talk about Cyprus. So, I suspect I know the answer to this question. But will Croatia qualify, yes or no? Is what I am asking you. Someone said their head of delegation is a horrible and terrible person. I don't even know which delegation you're talking about, because we talked about like 5 countries in the last 30 seconds. Someone said, by the way, Israel delegation will disqualify a fan favourite again, like Joost. Let's not forget that Israel had nothing to do with Joost Klein's disqualification. The whole sequence of events had nothing to do with Israel, beyond the general atmosphere of tension. They weren't directly involved in it in any way. Secondly, I think we're already seeing that the way the contest is being operated this year is preventing a lot of the incidents that we saw last year from taking place, which means a lot of those things are way less likely to happen. Even last year, it was a totally unprecedented set of events. It's less likely to happen this year. We're not going to see someone get disqualified. Like, let's be real here. It's not going to happen. Now, let's look at the Theo Evan clip. Now, we're going to have Sem from Eurovoix on the stream later this week, who has a really interesting take about this song. Purely speaking on a visual level, I think this looks super cool, super slick, super professional. And, you know, Sergio Hyan has done an amazing job with this. They've clearly had a really clear vision that they have been able to execute as a team. I think it looks great. We haven't seen many of the vocals yet. I don't know how good the vocals are going to be live. This is a question mark that is true for a lot of people, and obviously we can't really judge vocals based on a rehearsal. But we're still, you know, I keep talking about this. We lack information when it comes to Cyprus. There's a lot of things that we just haven't seen yet, that we haven't talked about. And for that reason, you know, I do wonder whether it could have helped for the narrative around this song to have talked about some of those things earlier. I get why they didn't. And I get why, you know, he's been preparing in the way he has been. It's clearly been very intense. A lot of work behind the scenes. I would have loved to just see, like, you know, one live performance of this, you know? And in fact, you could sort of almost cheat a little bit with that live performance. Make him go and do, like, an evening talk show in Cyprus or something, where he doesn't have to do any of the staging, so he can just focus on singing the song. But at the same time, you know, I think the thing is, Greece and Cyprus, they have a certain way of their acts, you know, what they do and what they don't do. And it, for the most part, seems to be working. I think it's a decent package. I think now I feel a lot better about it qualifying. I'm going to quickly end the Croatia poll and do one for this as well. And then we're going to have a little peer in at the carpet and see what is going on over there at the moment. Kano Bean says, at least he's got golden locks. Indeed he does, allegedly. I think I am surprised, though, that it wasn't a... I was expecting the song to be about, like, an Adonis-style figure, right? So the fact that it was the Vitruvian Man instead didn't make much sense to me. And again, I'm going to let Sam do the commentary on that later this week because he has an excellent take. So you're going to have to stick around for that. I am making a poll about Cyprus. There we go. The hate for Cyprus. Sissal, Portugal. Fan base of Faroese singer Sissal says, the hate for Cyprus is so forced. I don't get it. Yeah, I kind of feel similar now. I'm feeling I'm more convinced than I was before. You know, when you see it come together on stage, I think it does make a big difference. It does make a really, really big difference. We are now all the way through semi-final One, let's not forget that we do have the turquoise carpet going on at the same time, courtesy of the ESC Discord Twitter feed. We're going to quickly have another look at some of the looks that have been coming out in the last 10 to 15 minutes. We have Melody has just hit the carpet. As you can see, she is wearing black. I expected a bit more of a statement piece from her, you know what I mean? I expected it to, she's the sort of person where you think she'd bring something, colourful and big. But this is a lot calmer. And those men, they're not wearing suits, but they got close. So they narrowly avoided adding one extra point to the men in suits counter. Marco Bosniak was always going to slay this. So I'm not surprised at all. I really like this. It's kind of giving I guess it's kind of giving almost like a sailor kind of vibe or a samurai, which I think is pretty cool. We have Abor and Tina. Well done, Abor, for not wearing a suit. Although it's not very interesting. See, this is the thing. This is part of the reason why I didn't do a turquoise carpet stream. I'm quite good at talking about songs. I'm quite good about talking about Eurovision. I have no idea how to talk about clothes. I don't know anything about clothes. You have Montenegro. And because I look at it and I'm like, oh yes, it's Nina Žisic. And she is wearing a dress. So I need a fashion expert. Next year we'll do a turquoise carpet stream. I'll get a fashion expert on of some description. And Gabri Ponte wearing the same thing he always does. I think I've seen this man wear this outfit about 20 times. Fair enough. We have Red Sebastian. Now that is actually fun and interesting. Although it is giving a little bit, if you remember Esma from North Macedonia years and years ago. It's giving that a little bit, in my opinion. And then we have Kyle. Kind of a slightly similar vibe to Marco Bosniak, actually, as well. Someone said Red Sebastian's giving raincoat. I kind of know what you mean. It's very practical. Dress for all weather conditions. In all seriousness, it must be boiling hot in there because it's like 22 degrees in Basel today. Indeed. Pope Sebastian. It is giving... It's just got out the conclave. Oh my gosh, now I need to be in the parade. Add Cyprus to the suit counter. There we go. There's another one. How many are we on now? 3, 4? Then we've got Azerbaijan, then Georgia. Wow, Georgia and Azerbaijan next week. So that's quite pairing. Remember Monday hitting the carpet. I absolutely adore these girls. I'm sorry. I've been completely won over. I love how they kind of do the Powerpuff Girls thing. They have their own colours and stuff. I just think it's really sweet. And they're just rays of sunshine. We need more people. This is what the UK needs in Eurovision is acts who are just going to be so unabashedly enthusiastic, unapologetically in love with the contest. Yeah, it's great. Now, where's Theo Evan and his suit? One more refresh. Let's see if it's there. Okay. In that case, we're going to move on to semi-2. We'll come back to it in a bit. Which means it's time for the milkshake man. Garg on carpet. Oh boy, wait. We've got to get this up now. I'm on the carpet. I misspelled YouTube. I was so excited. Come on, load quickly. There I am. Woo! I hope you guys all like my sparkly cowboy fit. I spent a long time thinking about it. Wait, let me just. I love how there's literally people oh my god, Garg. ESC Garg. I hate all of you. Dear oh dear. No, seriously though, I like that. It's not a suit. He's nice and it's shirtless in order for maximum ventilation. I think we can all agree that I am definitely giving serving the best look today on the carpet. I will probably come back to... Someone did not just say Gargium Shengalia. We're not going there. Although she did kind of look like Gojo in her rehearsal clip, I thought. Anyway, Milkshake Man on that subject. Moving swiftly on. Chat is spamming Garg in the Turquoise Carpet live stream. Good. I think this is one of my favourite silly props of the year. Are you kidding me? A blender with a smoke machine that has an outfit change? 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. I'm so pleased with this. I think he looks great. He's so invested in this show. He's so, he's thrown himself into it so wholeheartedly. And you can tell when people really care, especially with a song like this, right? If you have a slightly unserious song, if you're really, really into it, if you're really, really invested in the competition, it comes across. And this really came across for me. I think it's great. Thank you so much, Haipu, for the Prime sub. I should say, by the way, because it's something that I should have been doing all day and I forgot to say. If you want to support the channel financially for free, if you have Amazon Prime, you can subscribe on Twitch free of charge using your Amazon Prime sub. Moving on. Australia, I think we all agree. Again, qualifying, because of course qualifying. Moving on to, as Apology says, Nina Zizic, serving circle. I love her voice so much. She has an incredible voice. And it's so... it has this real beautiful energy. I love this little thing with the sword that then descends. But the thing is it shows a lot that they're trying to shift the narrative here, right? And if you're putting in your big moments in these clips, it means you're trying to shift the narrative. Right now, this is kind of being cut adrift at the bottom of the odds. Let's have a quick look. If we look at the semi-final 2 odds right now, you'll see, Dobrodošli, now down at 14%. To be clear, if this qualified, it would be the longest odds on a qualifier ever. That's how far down we are now, unfortunately. So it's a tough time for Nina. It is a tough time. Don's was slightly higher, 16 or 17%. I can probably show you. If I go to more... Contest 2024... Semi-final 1? No, semi-final 2. Don's 15%. So she is 1% lower than Don's on 14. This would be the longest ever. This would be the longest odds ever for a qualifier. I don't think it's happening. Of course, you'll get a poll, as we always do. Oh, wow. Because I still haven't gotten rid of the Cyprus poll. That's why I was like, why isn't it letting me make a poll? Here we go. So, Montenegro qualifying. I think the song was never going to allow it to. I like it, but it was always going to be, at best, a borderline qualifier. And the competition is just too strong. If maybe we'd had a few national finals go differently, I would be saying, yeah, sure, we can do it. But... especially with Serbia in there as well. And it's with sadness I say this, because I love her and I love the song. Donda says, I think it would have been more drastic with Neonoen. Yeah, I'm kind of starting to become a Neonoen defender in this situation. It would be so out there and so different and unusual. Maybe it would have made a big difference. And apparently, did Newcastle just score... One sec. Football. See, first I say that I know nothing about fashion, and now I'm talking about football. That's how you know I'm straight. I don't show it often, but when I do it, it really jumps out. I'd actually completely forgotten that Newcastle were playing today, in all honesty. Oh, wow. 2-0 and Chelsea had a red card. Beautiful. Well, that's cheered me up. We will proceed. Back to the task at hand. Excellent. If anyone knows why he got sent off, Mark in YouTube chat, you mentioned that Newcastle had scored. Please tell me why the Chelsea player got sent off. We're moving on to Like a Party. I actually bumped into Anders last night, her brother. And yeah, seemed pretty at ease, pretty happy. And actually, I have to say, although I still hate the background graphics, everything else about this has improved. We will look at the Eurovar model in a bit. I think they've made her... She's so much more comfortable doing this here than she was at the national final. I think they've done this in a way that has finally made it come together. And I think she could qualify. I think it's a bit retro, but it's catchy. I think the dances are fun. I think the costumes and everything and the big prop are fun. It's just it's a significant development from what we saw at the national final. For that reason, I think it's still in with a chance, even though I really, really wish they'd done something else with the background graphics. Like, that said, the one thing I do like, although I want to get rid of those cats, this shot with Leica on the backdrop, so good. This was an amazing idea. That is an amazing idea. Just so well done to whoever thought this was what they should do. You get a raise. I love it. I've made no bones about how much I like this song. I am going to do a poll for it, of course. And by the way, 85% of you said no, Montenegro will not qualify. I make no bones about how much I love that song because I just think it's so silly and fun. But I think it is still in with a chance of that 10th qualification space. So here is the poll now over on YouTube. Will Ireland qualify? Donde says, and I really agree with this actually, they should have leaned more into the constellation-themed graphics instead of AI cat astronauts. I completely agree. I think they were on it with that, and then I guess they just didn't quite know what to do with the chorus, and so they just kept the weird astronauts. So I can see this is probably the most split you guys have been on whether something is qualifying or not, but I would say I think it's slightly better than it was a few weeks ago. Because I seem to remember we did this exact poll a few weeks ago and more people thought they were not going to qualify. God, my throat's very sore. I will admit that I think part of my throat difficulties today will be the fact that Euro Club opened last night. And by the way, it's 15 Swiss francs for a gin and tonic in there. 15! Which for me kind of feels normal because I live in London. But 15 Swiss francs is quite something. Kano says, I bet Gotham really hopes they qualify. Well, Gotham will be on this stream later this week, so you'll be able to ask that yourself. Zierm has now taken to the carpet, I'm hearing. That's not the carpet, that's very nice. Let's just look at that for a minute. I like that very much. Now, sorry, focus. ESC Discord, how fast are you posting? We have Laura Thorne, Sissal, Adonis. Right, let's go. But we'll work our way through back up to the current point, and hopefully they'll, by the time we get there, have posted Zierm. Yep, that's a man in a suit. It really is a man in a suit. And that's all I have to say about that. It feels like, bless him, I think a lot of the artists probably feel like this. A lot of the artists, have you noticed, have been walking down the carpet in a way that's a bit like they don't really know what to do with themselves. I'd be the same. If I was on that carpet, I'd have no idea what to do with myself. Like, how fast do you walk? Do you stop and wave? Any of that kind of thing. Then we had, of course, me. We looked at this before. I hope we both agree that I slayed. Adonis, that's not a man in a suit for sure. That is, I love this. Is that velvet? Okay, I showed one fashion thing. And by the way, it still strikes me every time I see him. Like, he's surrounded by a bunch of quite tall people here, and he's still like a full head taller than everyone else. I'm also enjoying, by the way, shout out to Ahmad there, who is the Czech head of press, looking absolutely fabulous as well. I'm going to end the island poll. 58% of you say no. So we're pretty split. I want to hear your justifications from everyone this time. Why did you think it will? Why did you think it won't? Sisal is not wearing a suit, obviously. She looks fabulous. I like the jacket. I don't really have much else interesting to say other than I like the jacket. I really am not good at fashion. This day was always going to be the toughest for me. And there, just in time, I mean, she just looks stunning. The designers she works with get the assignment every single time. They get it just right. You know, she looks glorious. And I think it really works because she's so extroverted and so, you know, like, has these kinds of statement pieces. I think it's a really nice vibe because it means, because Kola doesn't really want the spotlight all that much. And you can tell that in everything that he does. He's not 100% comfortable, I think, being in the position that he's in. And I think, and her mum does the dresses. I mean, that's even better. But I think that's why they make such a perfect match. Because he is quite happy to step back and let her, you know, take the attention. And it makes it work so well. They're such a good fit for each other as artists. And also we skip past Laura Thorne. That's a lot of men in suits with her, but at least they're interesting suits. And looks a bit like a recolored version of her national final dress, but I know nothing about such things because I'm totally clueless about fashion. Now, we're going to keep moving through these semi-final clips, and we're going to talk next about Latvia. Glow up. This is a glow up. And like, there's this kind of, you know, I love how they were like, we need to take the fairies thing and we need to make it like 50% more witchy. And they look absolutely stunning. I think that the whole thing just looks amazing. They are so encapsulating. And the big curtain, because they don't have any props or anything, the big curtain shrinks the stage down and makes it feel like, you know, it really focuses on them in a way that's so exciting. And it's like these kinds of shots where they're moving around like this. We had these at the national finals, but it works better with these outfits. Because the national final outfits, they had all the bits hanging off and so on. Now it feels much more distinct. You have these kind of, you know, bits, sort of. This is my analysis. I think vocally they're sounding good at the moment. I just think they're stunning. I find it visually so striking. For me, I think the outfits are a massive, massive, massive upgrade. And I love them. And I really want them to qualify, but I'm still worried. And this is the thing. I mean, we talked about this before, and I'm going to get some more water, but this time I'm not going to turn the gain up on my microphone. I'm just going to talk slightly louder. I'm feeling slightly better about their qualification chances than before, but I think you guys have to understand, right? You guys have to understand that this kind of music isn't going to be accessible to a lot of people, and that is still going to make things difficult. So we're going to run a poll. We're going to run a poll, of course. My clip looks really good. Hope you're getting a good workout on that treadmill. I really am. We're going to be watching it in a minute because it's the next song. But we will start that poll now. I'm going to go back to camera only for a moment. There we go. I know I keep banging on about it. I'm very, very pleased about that Newcastle result. And I sacrificed that to be here with you. No, I think Latvia is... I mean, this is the thing, is the sort of thing that you wish there were juries in the semis, because you lose so much of the potential of songs like this purely on the basis that there's not juries in the semis to like balance things out. And I think it's a really good argument. If this doesn't qualify, and if Dobrodošli is really, really low down the order, I think it's an argument to bring them back. I think we might see them again next year. The problem then, of course, is, well, how do you balance the fact that a lot of people don't, you had these delegations that were allegedly, they've all denied it, and for all of them all the ones who ever spoke about it publicly have denied it, with this, there's been allegedly some funny business. But I think, is there a necessary evil element of this where it's like, well, okay, there's going to be some shenanigans, but we have to reward songs like this. Even if it just flips one qualifier, I think it could be worth it. We're going to move on to me. I've been training really hard, guys, and I hope you can see that. I've been working out a lot. I've been doing a lot of running. And as a result, it has allowed me to do a sideways, sort of more intense and angry Robin Bengtsson. I actually think this is cool as fuck, though. Like, seriously, I actually think it's super cool. And I think it's exactly how they should have staged the song. They needed it to be intense. They needed it to be sort of angry, because you have to lean into the fact that it's loud, that it's aggressive, right? And so, what they've given us here is exactly that. They've given us something that is loud, that is aggressive. It makes the song work better because you've got this kind of, super heavy, like overexposed, maybe a little too heavy on the filters under, I think you might be right, thing. It makes it a lot more kind of visceral, and it brings out a more interesting image than what we had before. Will it qualify? Let's see. 73% of you said yes to Latvia. 74% actually. You guys are brave. And Terrastar says, Gabe, how does it feel competing in Eurovision again after 2019? Feels great. Feels great. And of course, this time I've decided to go shirtless. I just think it's really cool. And I get that I've kind of been like, I've done a bit of a 180 on this song because all the jokes and stuff have made me enjoy it more. So I'm more open to it than I was before. But I just think it's really entertaining. We'll throw a poll out on this one. Again, I will be searching Armenia qualifying with a question mark. Yes or no. Start. Let's have that and see how we get on. Viola makes a good point, because we'll talk about this when we come to the next clip, which is that you have two black and white songs back to back. I'm just going to sit back for a minute because my back is hurting. You have two black and white songs back to back in the form of Armenia and Austria, which could harm one or both. I think they're very different songs, though. So, I mean, we'll see. I think they're using it in a very different way. But it might help Claudia then to have, all the colour after Austria and Armenia are done. Right, we're going to keep pushing on. We'll pass the 2-hour mark and we just keep going. Bruno says, Gabe loves picking the most handsome guy every edition to say he looks like him. Hey, listen, I didn't start the Duncan Lawrence thing and I didn't start the Park thing. Other people did that. Have I met him yet? No. Hopefully soon. 65% at the moment saying no. Prince is wearing a suit, apparently. I'll add another one. What's that, 5, 6 now on the suit counter? It just keeps going. Let's see. I'm scrolling down. We have Claude. Looks very similar to his stage outfit with some highlights on the top. That's a suit. That's a suit. That's a suit. It may be a very glamorous suit and I like it very much, but it's still a suit. So we're adding one to the suit counts. As for Erica Vickman, unsurprisingly, not a suit. You guys should have seen her performance at Nordic Party last night. Erica Vickman finished it and then turned around, pulled and grabbed her dress and just and flashed the audience. Which I think sums up nicely how she felt about how she feels about the censorship of her ass. It was very funny. There's videos on Twitter and TikTok. Then we had Zifferblatt from Ukraine as well. I can't really see it. There we go. Oh, I love that purple. That's wonderful. We should forget that it wouldn't surprise me if this was another Ivan Frolov fit. Because he also did that stage outfits. So we're keeping up to date on the carpet. We're... Oh, there he is. Suit man. I just don't have anything interesting to say about him. It's just a suit. I don't know how they do it. Literally, there's entire channels dedicated to just talking about fashion. I have no idea how they do it. Now, we're going to talk about what I think, and I'm sure a lot of you will agree with me here, was one of the most hyped rehearsal clips. We've seen movement in the odds, sort of potential emergence of a contender to win in the form of Austria. And this is going to be interesting because they, in my opinion, have told us almost nothing from this clip. This is as they've shown us as little as possible. And I love it. I mean, the little paper boat thing is quite fun. And I'm really glad that Vibe were able to make their way into this entry. But the key question remains for me. What are they doing with the last 30 seconds? What are they doing with the last 30 seconds? I've seen a lot of descriptions which make me very excited. But I have not yet seen... I'm not going to be convinced until I see it on Wednesday or Thursday, whenever it is I do see it. It'll be Thursday, won't it? The boat does not work for me, sadly. It's a tiny effect in the first 20 seconds, and I think it's going to be gone straight away. So I wouldn't worry about it too much. Now, the big thing is, I'm going to do a similar poll like I did with Albania before. Will it win? Can it win? It's going to depend a lot on whether locals connect with that vocal style, isn't it, really? I mean, I don't need to tell you, right? We all know that this is divisive. Like, I love it, personally. I think it's really unique. I think the vocal style is really unique. But at the same time, I think a lot of people find it to be a turn-off and find operatic vocals to be a turn-off. We're going to do another poll again. I think this is going to finish in the top 10 no matter what. So the poll is only going to have options going down to like 8th or something. Right, so Austria finishing position. And we are going to have 4 options. We are going to have first, second to 4th, 5th to 7th, and 8th to 10th. Although, quite frankly, I think if anyone picks 8th to 10th, then you're insane. So, there we go. There's the poll in chat now. I think, to be honest, I can really see it winning. I still don't think it's the favourite. I still think Sweden is the one to beat. But I could really potentially see something special coming down the road for Austria. We're going to keep moving. We're going to keep going. We have plenty to get through and plenty of time still to go. And we're going to talk about the next song, which is Greece. And it's a really interesting point that was made in chat, which actually I hadn't thought about, which is about having 2 black and white songs and then having the colour come back in. And it has Lithuania afterwards, right, as well. So it's got a lot of greys, a lot of blacks, a lot of monotones around it. And then all of a sudden, it's a big explosion of red in the middle of it all. But but we will see. And we'll, of course, go through the big five, by the way, at the end as well, since we have clips for all the big five now. So, Claudia. Now, this, I think, is quite a cool sort of background effect. At the same time, in that shot, because of the way she's dressed, she's lost a little. You know, she's quite small. I worry about it a little bit when it's, zoomed out. But it works. This outfit works much better against the red. So once you have this kind of colouring, all of a sudden I think she's way more striking. And, because if you look at this at the start, obviously there's the thing on her which doesn't help. But here she's blending a little bit. Although I must say, I did quite enjoy the explanation of this and the cultural significance, the reference to the parts of the sort of treasures of the Parthenon that need to be returned to Greece and have not yet been returned. But you compare this colour palette and how she blends there versus this one. And all of a sudden, she stands out way more. Woman on Boulder is a foolproof strategy. Indeed. And that actually does reflect on something about her being stationary that we were worrying about at the national final. I don't know how much I like the fact she's stationary, but at the same time, if there's... I don't know if they're going to... I wish they'd just bring dancers or something to bring more movement on stage. Not just from camera angles, not just from LEDs. What I will say, and this is actually something I've been thinking about because it did get engaged a little bit at Junior Eurovision, was augmented reality. Think about how incredible this staging would be if they'd used if augmented reality was an option, and this sea extended all the way down and past her, and she was on a boulder in the sea surrounded by red lightning. That is something that is technically plausible at Eurovision now. We saw it, if you think back to Stand Unique at Junior Eurovision, made really heavy use of augmented reality. It would be such a cool effect. I'd love to see in an environment like this. Perfect example. So we'll see. We will see. Georgios Papadopoulos, by the way, says, "You don't know how much this song means to me as a diaspora Greek." And I can understand that given the theme that it plays on. I mean, not a million miles away. Obviously, a much more serious source matter. But that sort of... It's becoming an increasingly prominent part of the contest. This, Deslocado, Zierm, this kind of yearning from home. Yearning for home when you're far from it. Now, we're going to move forward to Lithuania. I feel like not many surprises here. We're getting what we expected, but I think totally turning it upside down would have been a mistake, so I'm pleased about that. I love this. You guys know I love this, and you guys know I made that terrible shout way back when that I am still clinging onto. I think this is massive, massive potential. Massive potential. I think it could finish in the top 10 or higher. I'm going to keep saying that, despite all signs to the contrary. I'm curious to see what they do again with the repetition section. I want to hear the crowd singing it. I want to see that. They've got this flashing light on him, which I think could be a really powerful effect if they've done it in the right way. But yes, camera angles, intensity, they are on it here, in my opinion. They've leveled it up in the way they needed to. And I think they were smart to take, much like they did last year, where they had a strong concept already with Luktelk. They've taken it and been all right, let's just develop it a little bit. Let's re-evaluate it for the Eurovision stage. And it worked well last year. It's going to work well this year. I am going to poll actually on whether Greece is going to qualify, because I'm still pretty confident. But there's been some people pointing to it as a potential source of an upset. So for that reason, off we go. I'm not polling Lithuania. Lithuania is obviously qualifying. Anyone who says it's not, I'm sorry. You're incorrect. there's no way this doesn't qualify. If this doesn't qualify, I will be very, very sad. Have we looked at Like a Party yet? Yes, we have. We have indeed. We looked at it about maybe 20, 25 minutes ago. I'm seeing pretty consistent viewpoint on Greece so far, but I am going to draw a line of comparison in a minute once this poll is done. Aardvark, the poll's only on YouTube for now because I'm having trouble with Twitch. It's not letting me activate polls at the moment. It's interesting seeing the level of confidence that people have for different songs, because this is less certain than it was than some other songs in this semi-final, in a way that kind of surprises me. And I'm going to talk about this with reference to my, qualification battle video in a moment. And I'm just going to give you another minute or so to vote. We've had about 330 people vote so far, so let's keep it coming. In the meantime, I thought I'm going to quickly remind you again of some of what we have coming this week, some of the people who are going to be joining me on this live stream, and that is going to start with tomorrow, where James from Eurovision is going to be here with us. That one is going to be, again, 1 p.m. till 4 p.m. Basel time. In addition, we should have an interview to show you on that stream. I will come back to you, but we have a pre-recorded interview scheduled tomorrow morning. And also Ben Robertson, who is responsible for the audience poll, is going to be coming on and talking to us about that and how it works. There's then tomorrow night, the jury show. We're going to be starting the stream here at 8:30 p.m. Basel time. The show's going to start at 9. We're going to be keeping track of everything that's happening. We have people in the press center. We have people in the room who are going to be passing along information. And so we'll also be keeping an eye out on social media for videos that appear of the performances taken from in the room. We are allowed to show you small snippets of those, and so I will be doing that. So you will be able to get a little sense of what is going on. Tuesday, we are going to be starting and finishing slightly earlier, 20 minutes to be precise. We're going to start at 12:40 and finish at 3:40. That's because we have an interview we need to pre-record at 4. It's what I'm really excited about. But again, I'm not going to tell you who it is. I'm not telling you about anyone until after we have it in the books. Jay is going to be joining me that day, and for the stream on the following day, on Wednesday. I'll have another jury show stream that Wednesday night. And then Thursday, GJ and Marco from Dinga Dong Song Festival podcast. And possibly I have another guest potentially lined up. They haven't come back to me yet, so I will let you guys know about that. Friday, someone was talking about Gotham before and about Like a Party. Gotham and I will be doing the stream on Friday. We're going to be talking about our sort of reaction to the semi-final results and looking forward to the jury final, which will be that night. I'll be on with Mackwell in the evening. That's going to be 8:30 until about 1 a.m. So that's going to be a long stream. I'll make sure to get a pizza and I think for that. Then James and Sam will be joining me on Saturday. And then GJ, James, and Sam on the Sunday. We're going to go back to it now. I'm going to make sure I close that tab so you don't see all of my plans. There we are. And Greece, 65% yes, 35% no. You guys have the same level of confidence for this as you had for Latvia. And that's really interesting to me because I would have had this much more comfortable than Latvia. So to be honest, I'm a bit surprised. I thought you'd be more I thought you'd be a lot more confident actually. Ziluet says, please let us know how good the food is in Basel. It is good, but it's also very expensive. I need to work out what I'm going to eat tonight. I'd like to eat something nice. Maybe I should treat myself to like a nice, fancy dinner somewhere. Maybe I should. I deserve it. It's been a long couple of days. I'm surprised so many people say no on Greece because while I could see it as a shock non-qualifier, it's so unlikely to me that it actually materializes in that way that, less tthan Latvia by 10%. There we go. If one of them is going through, it's Greece. I want Latvia to go through really badly. But if it's one or the other of those two, it's Greece. We're going to move on to someone who is delivering exactly what we expected and exactly what we hoped for. Mirjana is going all out, and I'm so excited to see the full performance. They needed to just absolutely go all in, like make it outrageous, make it exciting, and they've done that. I think they took the setback of having to change the song title, and they have used it as such a massive plus. There is so much anticipation for this, and so you can do this kind of crazy disco ball thing. That disco ball, I'm pretty sure, spins around, and she's like sat in it, and it spins around, and she pops out of it or something like that. And it's just wonderful. And yeah, I just thought I don't really have many comments, to be honest. It's everything we hope for. People are asking where the budget has come from, and I can guarantee there will have been sponsors pouring into this project. The amount of like integrations and stuff I've seen her do with different brands, it's clear that there's been money pouring in, and as a result, they've been able to produce an amazing music video. They've been able to produce an amazing staging as well. I mean, that's one example. This week, the Spotify Grindr playlist is curated by Mirjana Conte. Like, they have got this just right, and I think, to be honest, she has the best PR team and the best comms people out of anyone in Eurovision this year. Like, totally owned the narrative for a month and a half, and it's been excellent. I'm very impressed. As for how high it's going to finish, top 10 I think should be the aim. I would love to see this in the top 10. Failing that, I can't see below 15th. It's got its clear audience. It's going to pick up a lot of 5s and 6s, I feel like, from the televote, which will push it up, because that segment is going to be very motivated to vote for it. Jack says 8th to 13th, and Boy 2.0 says, I'm so ready to hear the audience scream cunt. Fingers crossed we can hear it. I'm sure we will be able to. From definitely qualifying to not a hope in hell, it's Gojo. I don't know what they're doing with this. Feels like they kind of phoned it in. This was a mess to begin with. I think it's the clearest last place finisher in a semi-final that we've seen in quite a long time. That it just has no potential. There is no story. The lyrics make no sense. The traditional dancing is cool, but like, I don't get it. And they've styled her like Gojo. It hasn't made any sense. But to be fair, I think this is what happens when you have a participation which has clearly been leaned on in some way by domestic political disputes. Is you end up with this slightly odd package that just rings slightly strangely. Mariam Shengelia is a great singer, and in another year there wouldn't be this same sort of controversy associated, right? If it weren't for what's going on in Georgia right now, I think she could have participated much like Nutzer did last year and not had any issue with a very different song. And she's a great singer, and it's a shame that it's been wasted in this way. But this is what happens. Rushed, yeah, that's the word. Thunder. Rushed, influenced, odd. Like I say, and I think the thing is that we can agree that it's not a terrible song. Like I don't hate it, I just think it doesn't make sense for Eurovision, and basically everything about it doesn't make sense for Eurovision, and it just feels a bit strange. It kind of feels like one of those ones where stuff that's going on domestically in Georgia has sort of spilled over into this, because it's clear what the message is. We're going to keep going, and we're going to talk about Sissal. I've heard a lot of worries about her staging, and I want to hear what you guys have to say. Firstly, yep, they could have done with some pyro, although now they've gone for a blue-purple kind of look. Maybe, I don't know whether pyro will fit their colour profiles. But I want to know how you guys feel about this staging. I think all is far from lost, and I don't mind it, because with the energy of the crowd, it could really, really help it. And it's dramatically better than the national final staging. But, Anthology, thank you for the prime sub, says, Sissal looks incredible, but honestly, I still think Denmark is NQing. And Tomac says, still an outdated nothing burger. Dolphin Dane says, I'm living in Copenhagen. And I am too a little bit, because I want her to qualify. I really like this song. I don't care about, I remember way back when we first talked about this, I said, even though it's a little dated, I love it, right? It reminds me of like Je ne sais quoi by Hera Björk. And that is a great song. I really like Sissal. Great vocal, bags of charisma, such an amazing personality. It's tough. In this semi-final, it's tough. And it's a different style to be entering into. Bruno's in my thoughts too. Dunder, for sure. And Channel, I almost said Chanel. Channel 3468 says, I think needed more contrast, especially since the colour of the dress is almost the same as the rest. That is a valid point. I mean, if we look back, you got there, that's a nice contrast, the blue on purple. But then we go into the next section in the big note. She's blue and she's surrounded by blue, If you changed, you could have done a similar like sort of colour palette for the background. Maybe just made her a little more distinct. And also for the big note, I would have loved to see actually like this background pulsating a bit more sort of bright colours. Because if you had the blue, that blue will show up really well against quite, against very bright kind of, sort of white and stuff on that backdrop. And if we'd had some pyro in that section, it could have really been a big kind of moment. Nihilistic Cooker points out, Je ne sais quoi was 15 years ago. I mean, this is the other problem, is that you can't really compensate, right? And I think the thing is, and I'm going to go back to full camera for this, because this is going to be a bit of a sort of idle, wandering thought. I do feel a lot like you have these songs that in certain styles where we haven't moved on all that much, and this is why I was really complimentary of artists like Gojo, where we have this kind of pop music but with that slightly more modern take, because there's certain conventions in Eurovision that have been functioning less as the years have passed, and I think this is one of them. It can still be elevated into a contender to qualify, right? Because you have a great singer in Sissal and so on, and it creates that window, right? But there's still, you want more. And I don't think that's controversial. You want more because your brain is so familiar with it. It's so known to you it takes a lot to be surprised by this. And that makes it obviously, a bit safe. Moving on to one that is very dear to me, and that is Kiss Kiss Goodbye, Czech Republic. I am going to do a poll for Sissal as well, which I'll set up while this clip is on. This is another one that I'm really enthusiastic about. I think visually, his creativity visually makes him such an interesting artist. And I think you can see that here. I think, the black accents of this help him, but on the white costume overall, I think help him stick out, despite the fact the staging is very black and white. I've seen a few people saying, oh, why is the stage so empty? I think you guys need to remember that the budget of the Czech Republic in Eurovision is about 10p. Like, do you think they can afford props? And I don't mean that to be, I mean that just to sort of actually compliment, because they have always been known for a delegation which produces a lot of results with really small resources. So obviously we were going to be in this kind of similar position, right? I don't think that's surprising at all. But yeah, why aren't more people talking about this? They quite literally skipped over an entire country. Did we skip a country? No, we didn't. So yeah, I'm really enthusiastic about how this is going to do live. I think it's a top 10 contender now, for sure. Having seen it live, I just wanted the dance break to be great. The dance break has been great every time I've seen it. Top 5 even, sure, lovely. Could do it. And then Mr. Hate Mondays, with a contrasting opinion. I think Czechia is really overrated. They will barely qualify in the finals. I don't see them higher than 17. You are wrong. Oh, on the turquoise carpet, they skipped over Portugal. Maybe they'll come back to them. Maybe they'll come back to them. It might be, or maybe they weren't on their mark in time, or maybe they're delayed. These things happen. Maybe they'll come back. So, in that case, because there has been some dissent, I'm going to do a poll on this one again. And while I'm doing this poll, I'm going to quickly put you guys back to the starting screen. The reason for that is I need a 2-minute break to quickly go to the toilet. No point running around it. And because I don't have a guest here to look after you guys, I'm just going to have to put you guys back to the start screen. So I'm going to quickly put that poll on first. And by the way, you are about as confident in Sisal not qualifying as you are in Claudia qualifying. So let's say, will Adonis finish in the top 10? Yes and no. All right. You have 2 minutes, everyone. Behave, look after yourselves, and I will be right back. All right, welcome back, everyone. Thank you very much for your patience. We are going to keep on going. And wow, I'm going to end the poll now where the score is 50-50. You guys are totally even. What do you mean that piss break wasn't long enough? I walked into the next room where the bathroom is. I walked into the next room, peed, flushed the toilet, washed my hands, and came straight back. That whole thing only takes like a minute. Although, I did not just see piss goodbye in chat. Come on. But yes, just for the avoidance of doubt, yes, I washed my hands. You people are disgusting. And yes, I used soap. What is wrong with you? But no, very piss goodbye was very good. That made me giggle. Right, let's see if there's any other updates from the Turquoise carpet quickly before we move on. Now. We will refresh. Oh, well, there we go. Well, we should give them the platform then for sure. Let's have a little look at Napa. Not shown during the live broadcast. Man in suit. So we add one to the. We add one to the list there. That's a real shame. I'm not sure how that happened, but like I think the best way to deal with this thing, I think it's worth understanding, right? That these things don't happen because of any. There's no kind of like malice here, right? These kinds of things do happen, and the best thing to do is say, okay, well, you had this moment which got missed out on. I think maybe, the way to do it is to sit down and go, okay, a mistake was made. Let's sort it out. Everyone has the best intentions here. And when you have an event this big, and I know this from like I've run like election campaigns and like massive musical events and all sorts. When you're running events this big, stuff is, stuff goes wrong. Mistakes get made. It's not about not making mistakes, because it's not feasible to not make mistakes when you have this many moving parts. It's about how you deal with them. And what I think would be really good now, just give them some kind of moment, right? To like, maybe post like an Instagram and YouTube short, like of them on the carpet, something like that. There's no need to, there's no need to like go over the top, Right, so we're going to look at some other Turquoise carpet looks. This is a computer says lots of piss talk in the chat. Ronnie, the mistake was accidentally not showing Napa from Portugal during the carpet feed. So we had Zoe May, and we're going to talk about her later because she's been making waves. I think I've seen her look a bit like this from her before with the flowers, and I'm getting more excited about her participation. I'm going to hold my thoughts back. Just because there is still, we haven't spoken about Switzerland yet. Ronnie's made a really good point actually that the carpet, it's a student production this year. Again, like people need experience with these events. So, like I say, it's worth keeping things in context. Let's not go over the top here, And personally, I think it's really good that they're getting students involved with this. We had Claudia coming down the way. There we go. Quality's a bit better now. That is a gorgeous dress. That is actually gorgeous. I love that. I can't analyze it in any way because I know nothing about it, but I think that that's stunning. She looks like she looks like a, sort of a royal, like a sort of, some kind of, princess. It's amazing. Jack Clare, thank you so much for the tier 1 subscription over on Twitch, by the way. Don't forget, of course, we have Twitch. On Twitch, you can subscribe. On YouTube, you can become a member. That will get you videos early as well. You can support the channel financially on Patreon and on Ko-fi. All the details are in the description, and it will help me offset the absolutely enormous amount of money I had to spend to get this place. Let's take a little look at JJ. And I think that's Taya back there. That is Taya, right? Yes, it's definitely Taya. Oh, and that's okay. They're just like, that's enough of that. But yeah, no, JJ, I think escapes the suit count, but just about. We'll talk about the production again in a minute because this is a much better turquoise carpet than last year, even with issues. Luan, I love how careful they're being about. That's Alexandra and Ludo with her from the French team. It's really nice to see them all. Whoa! that camera got knocked about. But yeah, I think the French are being very clever and very coy. They've been holding back as much as possible, and I think their strategy is starting to pay off now because you saw how much hype that rehearsal clip got. Again, we'll talk about it in a minute. But yeah, we will keep going. Can we see Latvia? You missed them before? Of course. Let's find them. There we are. Tautameitas. Again, giving very different energy to the stage performance, but I love it. I love how they've diverged from the all match and gone half white, half black. Again, it feels a little more witchy, a little more witchy compared to how it was before. Now, as for the organisation of the event itself, let's go back to Kamani for a second. The turquoise carpet, is the turquoise carpet always messy? Yeah. It's varied wildly from year to year. Like, credit to Turin, the one thing that they got absolutely perfect was the carpet. And it was stunning. Like, it was so beautiful. And they had all the artists pose for photos in this, like, stunning old building with these frescoes. And it was gorgeous. Last year, it was really didn't work out. I feel like it was kind of an afterthought because the Swedes got a lot of stuff right when it came to like the production of the event, like the production, sort of pulling everything together. I thought the stage was really cool. The in room, like sound and everything, great, But it was a very small scale carpet, and as a result, people really didn't like it. That was part of my decision. That factored into my decision for this year to sort of not focus on it. I think the Swiss have done the right thing by enlarging the production again. And I also really like the fact that they've brought in student producers. Because you've got to remember with Eurovision is that you would ideally want the contest to leave a legacy on the host city in some ways. And for example, Liverpool, I think, has really done that. Liverpool, there are massive Eurovision parties there every year. Then the sorry, my train of thought went slightly there. So, but in the case of Basel, you're looking at a legacy. These are some young people who will have an excellent, piece of experience going forward, right? It's not every day you get to run a live event on this scale. So I think it's really good that they're doing it, even if it means the production is slightly more ramshackle. I think there's some learnings to be taken from it, for sure. I mean, I get the impression that today's event was ambitious and a lot better than last year. And it was really nice to sort of integrate it with the city again, rather than being sort of squirreled off in a corner somewhere where no one was seeing it. But I think when you do that massive jump and you don't have that institutional knowledge that can be passed from year to year, like you do with the contest at large, I mean, the Swiss broadcaster will have worked a lot with SVT. SVT will have worked a lot with the BBC. The BBC will have, I doubt they would have learned that much from the Italians, but you get the point. There's, that knowledge doesn't pass along in the same way with the carpet, because it changes so much year to year. Just saw your message, Dylan, sending love. As for the shouts, the sort of stuff about what people have been saying, we saw a lot of flags there, some protesting and stuff. I think it's understandable because obviously people still have really strong feelings about this. I have really strong feelings about this, and I've been very clear about where I stand on Israel in the contest. I think it was the atmosphere has changed in that you have now. It felt like last year that defined the event, right? And it was the same for me. It was the same for you guys. The whole politics around it defined the entire event. This year, it's a bit more of a Venn diagram rather than a circle. Like there's this clear and ongoing strain that I think we all do feel. But what today shows is the event running in a different way and sort of it not being as high a feverish, sort of atmosphere this year, which is probably good for everyone in some ways, because I don't think anyone wanted a repeat of what Malmo was like. Atomic Wilma says, have you checked the new Eurovoix model? Have you got any thoughts? No, but we will do it later and you can get my live reaction. So it does feel better. And as a result, thank you very much. I just saw a notification pop up. Ashka Marine, that was the one I missed. Ashka Marine. I do think it shows an event which is doing better and is healthier. I also think it means some of the things that people worry about with that massive vote in the public for Israel based on sort of, people who had an affinity with Israel or had a sympathy with Israel. A lot of that, there was a lot of this kind of every action has an equal and opposite reaction because there was because of the circumstances meant that we were at absolute max level stress, max level everything. And as a result, that creates an equal reaction in all directions, right? So you had massive protests, you had a lot of consternation among fan media, among fans, you had the booing and everything. The sort of other effect of that was I think it motivated a lot of people to vote for Israel as well. And so I think the fact that we're on a slightly lower tension this year actually reduces the contest's propaganda value for Israel this year, in a sense. And it will mean they get less televote because people will be less motivated to vote for them, in my opinion. Will says, Gabe, I will. I'm in Switzerland. It's nice. When I get back, let's go for chicken. Tom X says, last year was also peaceful at this point. Events were well organised. The arrival of one delegation ruined everything. Well, actually, things were already happening the week before last year. And we've not had any incident this week. In fact, I think a lot of people, I've been speaking to a lot of people while I've been here, people, fans, delegations, press, all sorts. I think the tension is much lower in Basel than it was in Malmo. And to be clear, it was not SVT's fault. Someone's just said you're making it sound like it was SVT's fault. It was not, and I said this at the time as well, that the actual production of the show last year, the stage was great, the production was great. I was literally just saying this, SVT were dealing with the hand they were dealt. But there it is. And so we will see what happens. We're going to move on. We're going to talk about the rest of these performances. I'm going to go over. We're not going to talk about the Israeli one, though. Like I said, my position is clear. Respectfully, no. I don't want to talk about that. Okay, the person I just saw someone who is absolutely getting banned. There we go. There we are. We will discuss Big Five and host once we finish semi-final 2, though. So let's talk about Luxembourg, and then we'll talk about Serbia and Finland. Very briefly, not going to play the clip. Someone asked me if Israel would qualify in a normal year without any of the political context. I would say probably yes, but it would finish a lot lower. As for the interval acts last year, is the last word on this, I would encourage people to think about what factors may have influenced whether people were willing to be interval acts. Now, Luxembourg. So, I think this is starting to come together. I think they've made a really nice use of the frame, like turning it almost into a little puppetry theatre, which is really fun. And given that a lot of artists haven't really utilised the frame to its maximum potential, I think that's really nice. This has its audience, and it has that set of people who are really, really, who are really, really into it. Are we saying that the dollhouse is AI? Has someone looked into this? Because people need to sort of take a shot of it and sort of look at the individual bits, because it's usually pretty obvious. And looking at this, on the surface of it, I'd look at it and say it could be CGI. And the reason I say that is because there's a lot of symmetry, and you don't have. So, for example, these lamps look the same. Stuff like this. These are the same on both sides. That kind of thing. There's some odd elements in the rooms. It looks like it could be. I mean, obviously that frustrates me. I don't like seeing generative AI. But if it's going to be in the competition, I'd much rather it was in a minor role like this, in a backdrop, than in something more major. I don't want songs written by AI, for example. And the focus is obviously on her rather than the backdrop. At the same time, just hire an artist. Hire an artist, a 3D artist, or someone who can animate your backdrop for you. It's cheap. It doesn't cost much money, relative to the cost of participating. I'm going to do another poll on whether this should qualify or not. I'm going to do that now. Luxembourg, or whether it will qualify, rather. And also, I think the other thing is, I don't want... So the AI conversation is a difficult one. Again, this is something we talked about a lot. I don't want to... there's going to be a lot of creative decisions that aren't made by the artists, or the artists will say, well, I want this thing, and there will other people who go and execute it for them. They don't necessarily have that much control over that. So it doesn't affect my opinion of Laura whatsoever. So again, not much confidence here, which means that every vote is going to matter. You could swing the result. Make sure you cast your vote if you haven't already. I'll leave it for another sort of minute or so. I mean, the AI conversation is interesting, and it's something I've been thinking about a lot. I expected an AI song, to be honest, in the competition this year, and we didn't get that, which is a relief, obviously. But yeah, it's hopefully something that we'll have some more action on soon. We know for a fact, because the EBU have expressed this before themselves, that there is concerns. And don't worry, I hate generative AI as well. And I think generative AI has no place in the competition. I'm going to close the poll now. And 60-40, you say Luxembourg is qualifying. So again, you're less confident than Latvia. Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to go through. I think 9th or 10th in the semi, but it's going to go through. Beg your pardon. And so we will keep moving forward. We are going to go for another 5-10 minutes, and then I think I'm going to stop because I'm really getting tired now. We've been on for just approaching 3 hours, but we have 7 more songs to cover. So we're going to go through those last 7. Next is Europe's finest mop. Why did they think this was a good idea? Why did they think that this is the most naff thing ever? Like, so unnecessary. And I don't get what the message is. What's the point? Why is he... Why? Someone said, yeah, he's a drag king. Literally. It doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense to me. And I think this is a big blow to its qualification chances, because people will look at the staging and think it's just too naff. It's so unnecessary. It's over the top. I guess it's their attempt to have a moment, to have a stunt, but no. Respectfully, it's not happening. And they're not qualifying as a result. And that's that. But that creates a space for someone else. You know, I was skeptical about this all along. It's still doing, it's still in the top 10 in the odds, but really, I think, I would say all 4 of the songs immediately below it have more of a chance of qualifying than this. Now, the best clip. The best clip. This woman could well still win the Eurovision Song Contest. The aura, the presence, everything about this. I am just so totally obsessed. So totally obsessed with her, with this. It's incredible. She's going to win the semi-final. I absolutely am certain she's going to win the semi-final. And I think this is going to go down a storm. This has stuff for jury and televote as well. This is not just a televote bait. It's, you know, it has jury potential. And as a result, it's like I said in my video on Friday, she finishes second in jury and in televote, or second and third. Duncan Lawrence did that. She could win the whole competition. I am so excited. And I feel so vindicated as well, because when I first said in January that this could win the competition, people told me, nah, don't be silly. And more people have come around to it. And now, finally, I'm not going to look at the semi-final odds for this, of course. Finally, those odds are starting to shift back up. It's an outrage that she was ever out at 30-1 in the odds. Come on. This is going to jump up again. On Thursday night, this is going to jump up the odds. You heard it here first. It does have the Macwell jinx, but there we go. This is so good. I think definitely there's some learnings to be had about... let's just call a spade a spade. I don't know why she's been told that she has to change her outfit, but the Windows 95 man thing was fine. I mean, like, you guys know it's nonsense as well as I do. There's no point beating around the bush about it. Yeah, I mean, I am curious to see whether you guys think this could win the competition, though. So, this is not will, this is could Erika Vickman win Eurovision. And I'm going to start the poll. There we go. And Sierra Pikaku says misogyny, plain and simple. I think there's a clear... there's a problem with the fact that... I mean, it's a bad look, right? If you let men half naked onto stage and then all of a sudden start again, you can't blame people for calling a spade a spade. And I think that's the big worry here. The really, really big worry. Apparently I'm giving great answers on the carpet stage. Well, I've been working very hard, and I'm glad you recognise my commitment to Armenia, the country that I am from, and the country I will be representing in Eurovision. I'll tell you what, that Azeri shopkeeper in St. Petersburg must be really shocked to see me on TV. Now, we have Erica Vickman, 68% say that she could win Eurovision. So, I'm happy with that because it shows that my propaganda is working. I think she still could do it. She really still could do it. Now, we are going to talk about the Big Five and Switzerland. So we have 6 more songs to talk about, starting with this work of art. The dress is not the final dress, firstly, so we're not going to focus on that. This looks incredible, and the sand trick is sensational. Another big risk is not putting a mic in her hands. It means you have to know what you're doing with your hands, and at the moment, it feels right. And like the way it's little things that when you have the sand raining down like this, you can see the sand. It creates this kind of rain effect as well. So we have this kind of dual effect of the sands of time, which is how I'm interpreting this, and feeling like she's performing in the rain. How is she not swallowing it? Doesn't look up, I imagine. It's just the simple thing. Maybe she just gets a lot of sand in her nose. If I see her at some point this week, I'll ask. The first shot looks like she... Okay, on the flip side, some people seem to interpret this shot very different. I do not think it looks like she's doing a massive fart, okay? Let's make that clear. I think it's great. I think it's really, really great. So I love the visual storytelling. This is what I was looking for, and I think it's a contender now to win the jury, contender to win the competition. We needed something from this, and we have it. And they are holding back because this isn't even the climax of the song. So I'm excited to see what comes next. People saying Silent Star says guaranteed top 3, but don't think it's winning. Hope the first minute or so is very intimate. Yes, and I hope it will be. The one thing I will say is when I look at this, I'm reminded of the fact that I'm reminded of Sand by Saba, and the fact that Sand by Saba was Kova from Viesminest's favourite song last year. It does not look like a fart. Stop saying that. No. Oh, you people are insufferable. Right, we're talking about Germany. Also cool as fuck. I'm sorry. It's just cool as fuck. Look at this. Oh, Loco Boombox on stage. I think they are doing the right thing. Basically, just try and make her look as cool as possible. Like, they want to make the vibe as Berlin as they can humanly do. And that's where they are at the moment. So I love it. I'm really excited about this. I'm really enthusiastic. I don't think they're coming last, which is nice. Congratulations. And that boombox, we know for a fact that this boombox, let me find it again. This boombox explodes in sparks at the end of the performance. So that's going to be a moment. So we have more to come. I agree, Dunder. I wouldn't have done blues either. I wouldn't have done blues. But at the same time, we have so much fucking red and black, right? That I'm almost just happy to see blue. Now, live Berghain performance. It does have a little Berghain about it. Not that I know, I've never been. Let's be real, chat. There is zero chance. There is zero chance I'm ever getting into Berghain. I mean, look at me. It's just not happening. Right, we're going to keep going to Italy. And what I wanted was a cozy vibe. I was just excited for something cozy, something a little warm and friendly. And I feel like we're getting that. They're not going over the top. They've kept it simple. They're very much, I think, focused on Lucio's musicianship, which is a nice thing to do. I wonder whether he's going to start at the piano and then come out to this microphone with the guitar. It should be good. But overall, I mean, you guys know this isn't really for me in terms of the song. I think they're doing the right thing with it at the moment. I agree about the subtitle font. But I suspect we're on for a finish in the teens here. We are on for a finish in the teens at the moment. Someone's mentioned the makeup. Catboy Lucius says not a fan of the makeup. I don't know whether someone called Catboy can really complain about aesthetic choices, but at the same time, it's just Lucio's style. And I think it's really distinctive, and we want these kind of distinct styles in the contest because it improves the entire show, in my opinion. I'm just kidding, by the way. Catboy Lucius, I don't mean to be mean. I'm just messing with you. Yeah, I mean, it's fine. It's just not for me. Darkness is not the guy with that Minecraft skin talking. I've got no idea what you're talking about. What Minecraft skin? Anyway, moving on. Great. We're talking about Put a Donk on It by the Blackout Crew. This one interesting comment that I saw was, how come Melody can do it when Erica can't? And that is an interesting point. I will say, I think the color and outfit choices aren't right here because she blends. She blends so much, she doesn't stick out. It's better than Benidorm, but they should have gone for a different color. Like you can't see her. Once the pyro and stuff comes on, she vanishes. Which is now. And all of a sudden, where is she? She's buried in there. I'm not a fan of it. And I think it's going to come in the bottom 5. Maybe not last. And I'm happy she's achieved her dream. I know she's wanted to do this for a long time. But I am just not enthusiastic at the moment, unfortunately. Time G37 says, God, my country is so bad at Eurovision. Well, Chanel was good. You just got to stop trying to do Chanel again. It won't get 0 points. There's someone suggesting it's 0 points. No, it won't get 0. It'll get some. But, yeah. So they've not done what they need to do. We're going to talk about Switzerland next. And now we can finally talk about one of the most, I think, if you look at the odds, this generated some serious movement. Jury top 5, potential jury winning contender. I don't think he's going to win the contest, but I mean, it's perfect. This is literally perfect. They couldn't have done this any better. This is just a little clip of the first 30 seconds, but everything about this, they could not have done this in the camera angle, perfect. The lighting, the way she's, the way her hair's done and dressed complements this entire shot perfectly. I wouldn't change this shot at all. And it fits with the song. It's so personal and I love it. I just love it. And I don't think it's underrated anymore because it's jumped up, and I'll show you the odds quickly. It's jumped up into a position where I don't think you can consider it to be underrated. There it is at 11th. It briefly touched the top 10 as well. But you can see here this sharp jump in winning chance. And its highest position ever was 10th yesterday. Maybe we'll see it jump again after semi-2 when the performance is live. I am going to put it in the a poll on this, on whether, because I think it could win the jury. So I'm going to poll on that. Could Switzerland... It's not going to win the contest, I don't think. I don't think it will get to that height. But at the same time, like for the other ballads in the show, this kind of thing starts to shift the logic. Because you've got to remember, right? If a bunch of jury bait songs all deliver to the maximum extent, that splits the jury vote and splits it and splits it and splits it and makes it more likely we have a televote-led winner. And then Sweden will win, because I think it's blatantly obvious that Sweden is going to win the televote this year. Hilarious sentence. Never thought I'd be saying that. Sweden will win the televote, but how are they going to do with the juries? No, and it's interesting to see exactly half of you, seemingly at the moment, seem to think this has a chance of winning. I'm going to sneeze. Excuse me. Anthology asks, do you think this has a chance to have an Amar Polish Dice effect? Yes, but not to the same extent. That's why I don't think it's in with a chance of winning. I think it's going to finish really high up, but this is not a winner, in my view. I could see it topping 300, 350 points. Now, I'm going to end that poll, which will bring out a result. Thank you, everyone, for saying bless you. Basically a 50-50. 303 votes, 50% say no, 49% yes. It's going to be like 1% difference, like 0.8% difference or something. I'm about as uncertain as you guys are. I think now it's a chance, and the fact that half of you said that it could says a lot about how far we've come. It really does. Now we're going to move on to the last song. I'm really flagging now, guys. So we're going to talk about the last song, and then we're going to wrap up for today. And so that is the UK, which has delivered. It looks great. It's so colourful, and in a year full of black and red, we have all of this, colour and stuff. I love that Terra Star. The outfit's giving Dolly style. Yes, but in a really fun way, and I love Dolly style, so that's just fine with me. Their vocals sound great. I think they look great. Their energy is so infectious. Like, they're happy. Random Birdness, you're right. I'll talk about the model before I go. I just think it's great, and that prop as well. Like, I think whoever decided on this prop, give them a raise. Such a clever thing. Like a glittering, smashed chandelier on the floor. I can't believe I fell for this. I cannot believe they've sold me. And it took me so long to get this. And now it's just joy. It's just joy. And I'm excited and I love it. And I agree with the person who said the chandelier is better than the trumpets. You are very, very right. It is not going to finish in the bottom 5. That's my UK prediction. I don't want to be any braver than that, to be honest, because I've been hurt too many times. But, maybe top 15 is doable. That would be nice. I'm just going to get the model up now. I have not seen it yet, so this will be a live reaction, which we will go through together. Also, after this, I know usually I go for ramen after streams. I'm thinking today I might get a pizza. I feel like I could really do. I wonder if there's Domino's in Switzerland. Let me find. Where is the model? Not showing up on Eurovar's website. Where is it? The model. Sweden leads with Eurovision about to begin. Let's take a look at this, guys. Now, so we're going to scroll down and have a look at the first semi-final. And we have bad news. They have Iceland back out again. Carlos, by the way, says second best UK entry of the decade so far. Thank you so much for being a member. I think it's not my favourite of the decade, but I'm really, really pleased with it. I have to say, really, really, really pleased. So what we're seeing here, and we expected this because all along James has said that as we approach the contest, the swings would start to get bigger, the model would get bolder, and sort of because we've got more inputs, right? I agree on everything in this except for Iceland and San Marino, which I swap. Everything else, I agree. Potentially, I think the Netherlands will be above Norway and Belgium. I think Estonia is going to do a lot better than that as well, but I agree with all 10 qualifiers, and I mostly agree with the order that they are in. 181 is about where I'd expect Sweden to be as well. We see in last year, we saw semi-winners getting that high. So Ukraine will not come 5th. Ukraine is going to do way better than people expect. I'm so excited. So excited for them to finish top 10 and completely silence all the haters. But yeah, I'm looking at your thoughts now. I think most people are surprised about San Marino, and yeah, my my instincts are the same. Bear in mind that this can't respond to the rehearsal footage. It responds to other things. So, yeah. Now, other than that, I'm just trying to see if there's anything else that's in here that surprises me. Not really. I think it indicates a situation a bit like we had in 2023 where Luke Black qualified and had like one more point than Southern Lights. That year you had 9 songs that basically every country voted for, and I think those are those first 9. Then you had 2 countries fighting it out for the final place. Iceland and San Marino are those countries this year. So this is broadly what I'd expect. And the order could shift significantly among those top 9, but I think those top 9 will be the top 9 in the semi. Looking forward to the second semi-final. Now this, you want controversy? You want controversy? Oh my word. Oh my word. Greece out. Luxembourg 95. If this came true, if this comes true, number 1, James, you're a genius. Number 2, the fandom would have a meltdown if this was the result. Oh my God. This is violence. This is actual violence. I did not expect, I really didn't, firstly, I didn't expect to see myself, of course. But Luxembourg, that high, that massive points jump, I think what we're seeing here is the way in which the odds are swinging back and forth. I think in the next update, Finland will go up. If there is another update before the live shows. I think there might be one on the day just before the show itself. Because we would have seen jury shows and stuff by then. But, I mean, I think Greece going would be one of the biggest shocks possible. Like, that is within reasonable... what's the word? Reasonable possibility. I can't see any way that Luxembourg gets that many points, though. I think Luxembourg is still going to be a borderline. That was what you guys reflected as well. I can 100% see Ireland and Armenia qualifying, but seeing Latvia that far away hurts. And I think you guys probably share that feeling too. But what that just goes to show, right, guys, in the semi-finals, if one of these top songs is your favourite overall in the competition, but one of these is like your second or third favourite and you want to vote, that's what you want to do. Dolphin Dane's in chat saying if you guys want to feed in predictions into their simulation, the survey is still open until midnight. Make sure to do that too. Dolphin Dane, it would be fantastic once you have your final model to have a look at it on stream again, like we did before. If it's going up on ESE Insight again, I'll just get the page up. But let me know. And if there's any additional inputs, anything you've done differently now, I'd be really curious to see that. So that then leads us to the final, where Erica Vickman has finally gotten into the top 5, which is reflecting the fact that her televote score is increasing. But I do have one big complaint here, which is that Erica Vickman is not going to score 58 with the juries. She's going to do way better with the juries than that. Other than that, most of this starts to make sense. The jury, like in terms of the order, like I could see it finishing in this order, and I could see splits in most cases that broadly mirror the trends we're seeing here. I don't think France is going to score 354 with the juries, but I think it's going to do very well, and I do think it will lean jury. I don't think that Austria is going to have that close of a balance between jury and televote, and I think the jury score will be higher, televote will be lower. I do think it's going to get that overall score, though. Sweden, broadly speaking, I think that's probably going to be the result. I think they're going to do that well with the juries, or close to it, and they're going to do that well with the televote. I think people forget that Malfest kind of serves as a test as to whether you will be able to do well with juries. The reason Kai won Melfest is because they did well enough with the juries that their televote strength could make them win with change to spare in a system where you are limited very heavily on how many televote points you can get. Because they have the age group thing instead of just doing a general vote and then splitting proportionally. They would have won by a mile if it was split just proportionally. So this makes sense. Someone's saying they're underestimating the Israel televote. I actually think of these 5, this is the most accurate one. This is basically exactly what I would predict for Israel. Sort of 70 to 100 with the juries, 200 to 250 with the public. So sort of, in the low to mid 300s as a result. So digging down more into the details, you can see that Swiss jury strength in the top 5 now, 234. Whoops. And I'm going to sort of go through this, and I'm going to try and just point out surprises on the fly. Since James is going to be on the stream with us tomorrow, we'll go into more depth about this, right? But at the moment, we're just going to scan through it. It's weird seeing this big drop off. I would really love to see Czechia score more than 127, maybe up more in the sort of 180, 190s kind of range. Like I said, I have a problem with Finland's score here. I also think Albania 61 is tough, but then again, it might be a televote leading song. Poor Malta. Yeah, I would say you've got major clumping with the juries here. I mean, 5 countries over 200, and then you look down the bottom at how few points everyone's getting down here. I mean, Armenia 2, Estonia 4. Like, you've got a lot of really high and really low scores. I think we'll probably see a more even distribution across the middle than this. But yeah, I think there is a thing, as Dolphin Dane says, this is giving clear results, and I think this model is designed to make quite bold prediction at the top end, which is fun in its own way. And it's interesting because we then get to the televote, which is a little more spread out. Obviously, we had 3 countries with more than 300 points last year, right? So they vacuumed up almost all of it. But this year you have, well, it's like this. Sweden has a clear winner. I think most people are agreeing this is a pretty sort of conventional wisdom thing now, is that they're winning the televote. Israel, again, it's going to be high. Not as high as last year, but it's going to be high. So, again, I could broadly see this. I hope Erica gets higher than this because she needs to close this gap in order to hop over Sweden at the end. And she has to do a lot better with the juries than predicted here. 203 for Austria, maybe a little on the high side. I'm thinking more 170, 160, 170 at the peak. But much higher with the jury. France 2, I think, depending on how accessible people find this, how much people connect with the message, big question mark on the televote score. Could go down a lot, could go up a lot. Estonia and Ukraine are both too low. I'm going to say it now. Estonia is going to do better than this. And Ukraine will do better than this. 140s each, I think, would be a low estimate. As we go down, the thing is, there's a lot of songs I look at and I think, well, they surely have to do better than this. But ultimately, there's only so many points. Beg your pardon. There's so many points to go around. So someone does have to mess up. Going down the bottom, if Switzerland comes last with the public, I will eat my hat. There is no way Switzerland will come last with the public. That's one big criticism I would have of this at the moment. But there we are. So just scrolling through the overall result again, we can see you've got this sort of group of countries that you've sort of got the front runners spaced out quite evenly, and then it just drops off a cliff, and all of a sudden, you go from the mid 200s to the mid 100s in a flash. Lots of people in close proximity here, so this could obviously all shift a lot. And then we go down towards the bottom, and poor Ireland, I think, would be very happy to finish last in the final, because that would mean they're in the final. So we'll look into this more detail tomorrow. And we'll get full predictions on Tuesday, which is nice. So hopefully James can give us some early insights. In the meantime, I am going to wrap it up now. It's been a long afternoon. We've been on for about 3 hours, 20 minutes. My back hurts because I'm leaned over towards my computer. Maybe that's something I need to look at tomorrow, see if I can improve the posture. Thank you all so much for coming. I recognise that many people, were sort of caught between this and the carpet. And so it's been nice to see people popping in, telling us what's going on the carpet too. We're going to be on the whole week, and I'm sure things will just get more and more exciting as time goes on. We're going to have guests. There's going to be loads going on, so make sure you always tune in. And of course, it was really fun to jump scare you all with Loco Boombox. For now, I am going to say, if you haven't already, make sure you've you can like live streams. So I should say like the live stream. Subscribe to the channel. Follow me on all social media. It's all in the description. I really appreciate it. And for now, I will say goodbye and see you again tomorrow. And I need to press the button.